bouncing back. I keep coming back. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. It's just a mission. I do them in my sleep, no commission. I like a side quest, love opposition. With surgical precision, they make losing their tradition. Yeah, they talk and they talk, but what they say to me, I'm chewing it all, it's hitting my jaw, the way that it hurts you to think. I'm building a wall, 90s tall, between you and me. I'm out of space, you're out of peace, it's a different game when I'm out of your league. Say you wanna love, if you wanna love, make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, 'cause I wanna love, no stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take your cap, take your step, take a step, 'cause I've been back. Oh, God, I beat you in, crank up back too fast. Oh, just like that. I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. Now sit and watch me get this gold. Oh, I bounce back. I just want it all. I just want it all. Bounce, bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. Said you want it all. Bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. I can have it all if you knock me down. I'll move to the top. I Yeah, I'm bouncing back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. I keep coming back. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. It's just a mission. I do them in my sleep, no commission. I like a side quest, love opposition. With surgical precision, they make losing their tradition. Yeah, they talk and they talk, but what they say to me, I'm chewing it all, straight in my jaw, the way that it hurts you to think. I'm building a wall, 90s tall between you and me. I'm out of space, out of peace, it's a different game when I'm out of your league. Say you wanna love, if you wanna love, make a move, don't stop and wonder. Gotta take it out, 'cause I want it all. Don't stumble, I'll keep bouncing back. Take your gap, take a step, 'cause I've been back. Oh, just like that, I beat you in, crank up back to back. Oh, just like that, I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go, the doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold.
Welcome back to FNCS, everybody. It's time. Heats number 2 for NA. Yesterday was amazing. And now, once again, here we are for Heat 2, more duos. Looking to try and secure spot one in the finals. And of course, they all have that one thing on the mind. Dusseldorf, the Summit land. We have to make it there. We are very excited for today's games. Why don't we bring in Kelly and, of course, none other than Vivid. We are both so excited about this. A brand new time. We are back. More FNCS. And I think we're going to have 5 more games today, Kelly. I don't even know what I'm in for. What are we expecting?
I don't know. I feel like yesterday we really couldn't have expected a lot of those games, a lot of newer teams claiming those victory royales. And just to remind everyone, we are going to have 15 more teams punch their way into the grand finals next week, joining the 15 teams that we got from yesterday. But Vivid, there's 2 ways that teams are going to be looking to punch their ticket in.
Yeah, absolutely. We know how the format works by now, being that NA, EU earlier today. We played a little bit yesterday. You win a game, one of these 5 games, you're going straight into those grand finals. Or if you finish the day after those 5 games without a win, but still placed in the top 10 in the consistency, you are going to grand finals. So Zeke, I kind of picked up on what you're doing over there, right? With your little ghost antics, because things are getting a little spooky during these heats, man. Like a lot of upsets over there on EA. I mean, even yesterday, a bunch of teams making it to their first grand finals. I feel like these heats, man, all expectations have been thrown out the window.
It's about to get wicked today, Vivid. We are so excited. Why don't we start this off, right? So yesterday we talked about the stats in the lobby. Let's take a look and kind of compare to yesterday. So if we just start at the very top here, and Kelly actually mentioned, because yesterday I was like, oh my gosh, look at these stats are crazy. Kelly's like, dude, you ain't even ready for the rest of these lobbies. Yesterday's FNCS finals appearances, 239. Kelly, we're at 308 in this lobby.
Yeah, to have that many more, and to look at the FNCS titles as well, 18 titles compared to the 6 that we had from Heat number 1, just showcases how top heavy this Heat is. And I mean, Vivid, it's between this Heat and Heat number 3, we just have some big competitors today and tomorrow.
I think statistically, Heat 2 is actually working its way out to be the quote-unquote most stacked Heat, if you do take a look at those stats that we're looking at right there. But, I mean, for me specifically, 7 FNCS winners in a single lobby. I was kind of looking at the lobby list that we're going to be running through today, and I was like, man, I feel like at the end of the day, this leaderboard is going to look like one straight out of Grand. That's how many top-tier teams we have here today.
Woo, we're going to be getting into that in just a moment. First, why don't we introduce you guys to the casters? You know them, you love them. It's MDF and Jacob PR.
Yeah, things are only ramping up here. Yesterday was just the start. Now the lobby rosters, Jacob, are really starting to get interesting.
Yeah, and if yesterday was a teaser of what we might see today, we saw numerous teams that the community would look at as the superstars of this heat fail to actually get a win. Yes, they qualified because of that consistency, but when you look at today, there are so many names that you think would get a win. There are so many names you would think consistency. With 15 spots, I'm even at a loss here.
And what I'm looking forward to is just seeing how Veno's going to do. Acorn. I mean, we got Cold and Rapid, right? The return of some of the greats, the introduction of some of the new. This is going to be really interesting as Heat 2 now starts to turn on the pedal here, right? So for us, Jacob, I mean, early predictions. Yesterday was fun. Where you measuring today's competition as we start heading up?
I think this one's going to be tough. I don't think you can run away from that win. You got to take these opportunities as they come. My eyes are going to be locked on Veno and Curve. Not so much for Veno, it's more so for Curve. This is one of his biggest moments, a chance to shine with one of the greatest players in the history of the game coming on over to NA, and I think it's his time to prove why he's in the position he's in.
That's some excellent insight there. If Curve can step up to the plate, I mean, we might have his breakout opportunity. I feel like I'm using that word a lot this weekend, but it really does feel like we're ushering in the new guard. All these players that were once kind of freshmen into the space. I mean, I feel like we're entering into their junior and, honestly, senior years now, right? Like, They're starting to look really good. They're starting to warm up here, Jacob.
Yeah, with only 15 spots, though, yesterday showed us these games will fly by. But that's going to do it for myself and Monster for now. Zeke, Kelly, and Vivid got so much more to break down before we get in the games.
My 2026 bingo card did not have MDF doing the 6-7 on broadcast. Here we are. Let's kick things off. So we kind of we're kind of hinting at it, and honestly, MDF already kind of spoiled it. There's a lot of big names up in this lobby. So guys, who do we think could walk away with one of the 5 VRs that would auto qualify us to next week's finals? We have put together a little graphic. So Kelly, why don't you kick us off? Who do you think could win game 1?
Okay, so this actually might have been harder than predicting who's going to win the FNCS Grand Finals. We were trying to predict who do we think is going to take the first victory royale of the day. And I think between these top 3 names, we've switched between them over and over again. And I swear every time I would finally be like, okay, it's this team that's going to be in first place. We would watch, Cold and Rapid get that insane solo clutch or something from a scrim happen. And I would have to switch names up. But ultimately, Vivid, we did end up going with Acorn and Bolts. And when you look at the history, when you look at the IGL ability of Acorn, I don't think it's too difficult to see why we picked them in first place.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the topic of the season so far, right? A lot of new faces are kind of entering the scene, these heats. Everything's kind of switching up. Expectations, like I already said, have been thrown out the window. But I feel like if there's just one vet you could really just, place your money on, it's got to be Acorn. He just makes it happen time and time again. And that experience is exactly why we always talk about it. I mean, if you take a look at the last 2 years of online FNCSs, Acorn has not placed outside of top 5. I mean, if you go back a couple of years, 1st, 5th, 3rd, and then just last year as well, 1st, 5th, 2nd. I mean, the guy just breeds these incredible placements out of these online FNCSs. And that's why me and Kelly went ahead and agreed. It's like, hey, listen, Acorn and Bolts, they're going to win one of these games. Wouldn't be surprised if it was game 1.
And a part of the reason, I think, is due to the ingenuity that we see from Acorn. That play right there that he loves to do, which I think we're probably going to see again today, is where he likes to stay in the back end of zone, usually waiting for around zone 11 to go for that height steal. He'll play quietly, and you can actually see they made a little bit of a misplay here. But once again, Acorn's IGLing. He immediately drops down, goes on the reserve, and is able to rejoin with Bolts and still claim the victory royale. To literally have a plan in mind, have it go wrong, and then still somehow be able to recover and get the win is why Acorn and Bolts stands above the rest.
I am excited. I mean, Acorn and Bolts, they are top tier competitors, right? Yeah, maybe we could see them win game 1. Maybe they may not. Just play it through consistency. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait, kind of see how this all plays out. Let's talk about another team on that prediction list, Curve and Veno. As Kelly mentioned on that segment yesterday, Veno is back in NA. He's partnered up with Curve. So what can we expect from this, right? Like, do we feel like they are in a place to get a victory round? Do we feel like maybe they need some practice? They're going to kind of play out as much as they can? Like, where are we at?
they've been pretty hot and cold when it comes to Div Cup Finals performances. Either they're kind of getting in the top 5 or maybe they're around the top 15. But honestly, I think today we're going to see some great plays coming out of them. I think Veno is really going to be pulling out his A game right now. I think he kind of wants to prove himself once again that EU is better than NA. That's time and time again why we see him here kind of starting up that dialogue a little bit. But I mean, when it comes to Veno, I can think we're probably going to be seeing him on the high ground, right, Vivid?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those reasons we had, Veno and Curve second place on that, most likely to win a game today, right? Because we know how good Veno has been historically on the higher ground. And obviously, we're in the heats, we're looking for those wins. So would not be surprising to go ahead and see him actually go for that win. And I'm just so happy that Veno's over here. I mean, we've been teased with this before, right? He was over here once before, and it was awesome. You know what I mean? Just amping up the skill level that we have over here on the region. Love to see Veno over here. And, we're talking about those wins coming out of the play-ins, 3 wins over there. So this team knows how to get wins. Again, not be surprised if they were to go ahead and pick up one today.
If you're someone else in the lobby, right, and you're like, the thing about yesterday, right, we had a couple duos make their first FNCS final. I'm thinking, I got to fight through Veno to try and make that dream happen. So insane. Let's take a look at this lobby list, though. We've already talked about Acorn and Bolt, Curve and Veno. What about Cold and Rapid? I mean, hit me with this. I mean, dude, Cold, such a legend in this scene, right? And Rapid, played a big part in the big shifting around of duos. But now we have this super strong, dominant force, right? So I feel like this is an easy no-brainer, Kelly. They're either going to get a VR or they're going to make it through consistency.
I mean, when you say dominant, I have to look at their most recent accolades. I mean, Cold is going off of back-to-back wins from Major 2 and 3 last year. And then Cold and Rapid won the very first Reload Elite Series back in February. So obviously, they have nothing to prove to anyone. They already have so much on their belt as a duo and as individual players. But then to just see them as soon as Cold locks in, he just looks like an absolutely different player, playing in a different universe from everyone else. And then to be joined by Rapid, and I mentioned it yesterday, but once again, I am so happy that he's finally getting the attention he deserves, Vivid.
Yeah, I'm happy you kind of brought up the point. Cold, he's just like one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world when he locks in. And when he locks in, it's always the same time year to year. It is around FNCS. And guys, look at the clock. What time is it? It is FNCS time. We know Cold is going to bring the heat. And actually, he showed us a little bit about that in the play-ins. We talked yesterday. We were like, hey, the duo with the most eliminations, Shadow and Virgo. But the individual coming out of play-ins with the most eliminations, who would have thought? Cold. He had 142 over the course of those 22 games that they played out. I mean, he just always knows where to find those elims.
Whew! You guys got me hyped, but we still have 2 more duos to talk about. Let's bring up that lobby list again. So that was just a look at the first half of the lobby. Let's flip on over page number 2. Couple more to highlight here. I don't know. I'm going to pick someone random, I guess. What about Muzz and Sphinx? Muzz, the GOAT. We are Muzz stands on this broadcast, and Sphinx, we've interviewed him several times. This duo, I just love seeing them. Their energy is high. The way they play is awesome. Like, we have to see these guys in finals, right? So I feel like a victory out, or even just if we stick to the consistency side, they should make it through.
Yeah, I definitely think, if you look at their stats, they cut second out of the play-ins. They actually had the best damage ratio out of this heat. And when we think that there's, Cold in this heat, that is insanely impressive. They also won a Div Cup last season. So when it comes to winning and to making sure that they have that win condition in mind, they obviously have proven themselves that they're going to be able to bring that to the table today. With it being heats, though, it always just kind of throws a little bit of a curveball. You can never fully predict what is going to be happening. So when it comes to Muzz and Sphinx, I think they actually kind of do better in set lobbies. They're really good at reading their opponents, but with this being a heat, you don't necessarily know which opponents are going to be kind of rotating into you. So I think for Muzz and Sphinx, if we're not going to see a victory royale out of them, I would not be surprised to see them first place out of placements.
Yeah, they're obviously going to do well. We were kind of talking about how Veno made the move over here to NA. Muzz is kind of the pioneer for that strategy. Has not moved since. So we know that he has the experience. And speaking about experience, speaking about consistency, this is actually one of the only few teams, it feels like, on NA that actually stuck together, or at least were teammates last year in a trio and are now kind of remaining as a duo coming into this year. So they have the experience playing together. They have the experience in the game. They're going to do well today.
Okay, I like it. I like it. One last duo to talk about. Why don't we bring up that lobby list? And why don't we talk about Kelly's favorite? It's Reet. It's Cooper. I mean, look, guys. Reet's the controller god. Paired up with Cooper, already a global champion, right? They have so much experience between them. And now seeing them compete here today, you know, it's kind of a similar situation. I can see why, just looking at some of these names, I definitely see them getting a victory royale or making it through consistency.
Yeah, 100% between Reet and Cooper. I can see them getting a solo clutch victory royale if it comes down to that as well. What I love between this team, though, is that they've actually played together back in Chapter 6, competing in Major 2 as well as Major 3, and actually going to the Global Championships together. So they have that synergy. They know how to communicate together. And when it comes to kind of play style, I think that Reet and Cooper honestly complement each other really well.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about Cooper is, you know, his willingness to go ahead and stream. Actually, both of these players, they love to stream. And that's why I learned a lot of my respect for Cooper, because listening to the comms and how well he communicates, not only like what he wants to do, but what he is seeing to his teammates is what makes him such a good player. So we got Cooper, great IGL, super smart player, paired up with King Peace himself. I can't wait to see what these guys do.
Let's go, Fortnite fam. It is that time. 5 games. Remember, we either want the Victory Royale, and that's it. We're good till next weekend, or we need to end in the top 10, which is basically the top 15 in consistency. With that being said, casters, let's get the competition started. Over to you.
I have never been more ready for a day of FNCS heats. Yesterday, with just a little taste of what we got going on this weekend and next into the grand finals. Monster, we got 5 games, 15 spots up for grabs. This one is going to be a doozy.
That's right, and you saw the stats at the jump of the show. We are looking at a much more competitive lobby. We all saw the roster yesterday. It was like, all right, we got a couple names we recognize here, a lot of new blood, you know, looking to make their way to finals. Today, though, the big boys are starting to show up. Folks that have had multiple FNCS titles on the same lobby, taken to the same world. This is what I would feel like more of a sample of what's to come. So expectations are really high, and we're painting this picture, especially the pressure feels like it's on for Veno and Curve. They are a team I want to absolutely keep an eye out on from their early journey to the end game, Jacob. I know it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, and we don't have to wait long to see the interest. Game 1 is ready. Let's jump right into it.
Gotta love that battle bus sound. Heat 2, game number 1 is here, and the FNCS continues on. Let's see what's in store for us. Jacob, the hype is real, right? This is a lobby that, again, we have all been looking forward to. Where are our big boys gonna land up today? How good can they perform? How are these new teams gonna start looking to shape up, right? What's that dynamic looking like as we start leaning straight into Veno and Curve? Veno's somewhat of a perfectionist when it comes down to his land and drop. We've seen him do it some of the best, and as we start to highlight that, of course, he's got something up his sleeve. An excellent double knock, and before they can touch the ground, Veno finds a 2-piece.
Already things are switching up, because remember, we were looking at the drop map where like Curve and Veno, they're contested by Void and Alfonso. We see already there's no contested fight. Veno gets the freedom. Danny Fishy and his duo goes down. Veno actually inadvertently helping the south side of Battlewood Boulevard. Electro and Ult, they thought they were going to be contested. Well, not this game.
That's crazy. And you can't, you can't fake that level of accuracy, that level of talent, right? Again, if you're counting them out, think again, fellas. But all right, let's settle down. It's just game. It's just heats, right? My gosh, we're off to quite the start here. Couple contested players, as we all know it here, sharing the drop down on the eastern side. But let's get back to Jaeger and crew here. This is of course, the Frigid Fortress. Yesterday, we highlighted this drop as one of the, I'd say, the most contested, but for good reason, right? You have that natural elevation and plenty of loot here to spare.
Yeah, I think the only unfortunate thing is you don't get a ton of metal. You actually have to rotate away from the POI. And then because it is so contested, even if you actually get the Frigid Fortress uncontested, you have to worry about everybody else around you, especially if the zone does pull towards the south. As we go on over to Reet and Cooper, north side of the map, uncontested as well. And the interesting thing about this spot over here is Reet and Cooper have the luxury of staying here as long as they want. You already see Reet flying in in the sky because there's a launch pad over on this side of the map, Monster. It's not a regular launch pad. I call this one the long pad because on this side of the map, it actually takes you further and farther. And if you combine that with the Flowberry Fizz, you can see why Reek and Cooper have no worries in the early game.
Yeah, have somewhat of a super launch pad. You know, Reed's no stranger playing outskirt maps. You look back to his previous chapter drop. So this is really interesting how the dynamic changes now that you have again, the super launch pad here to play off of as well. So that's going to go ahead and play into their favor. A little bit of a standoff here between JB, Smiley, and the opponents, but nothing serious breaking out just yet at the Wonky Land. Yesterday, we saw plenty of tactics coming out here from, of course, the likes of Ritual. This time, though, yeah, they seem to just be holding down this vending machine and really content, more or less, with hanging out for now.
Yeah, and honestly, with Shark and Teeny on EU, with Max and his duo yesterday in Heat 1, even though we're used to seeing Wonky Land uncontested, I think it's proven you can kind of get away with splitting that drop spot and still having a good performance. You just know, just like everybody else, you don't want to be contested right out of the gates. Soneto, Kazis, you see the early game fights. They're easily able to wrap those ones up at the edge of the map as well, so they know the chances of getting third-partied are slim to none this early.
A nice little highlight for them there. Picking up those quick sets of eliminations. Jumping back with Kira. Bubba now, who's on the rotate, just going on the outskirts here. Playing relatively passively right now.
Yeah, on this side of the map here where you can kind of see all the way on the southeastern edge. There's two teams immediately contested at two different drops. There's one in the middle at New Sanctuary that's uncontested. But kind of as I said yesterday, New Sanctuary, even if it's uncontested, getting out of that POI, that's what's the chore, not necessarily looting up. So continue to see how that one goes on as Frigid Fortress. Monster, you said this is probably one of the more stacked sides of the map, and you're still seeing teams, ones that didn't even necessarily land at the Frigid Fortress. That's Dash and Cam. They land just south of it. The loot there isn't necessarily enough. You have to create some sort of loot path so you can get the rest of your loadout, and that's why you see Dash and Cam not only floating around their actual spot, going north. They see Blanks with their Surge Tower there, so they don't want to continue to rotate in that direction, so that just takes away one of their options.
And you can see them just looking for scraps there. The material count showing that they are still also likely in dire need of metal. Threats and Veer not having so much of the same issues here on the western side of the Riptides.
And this is what, you know, Threats and Veer, when we're talking about a team like Threats, when it comes from Surge, watching him all last year in trios, he was the main guy on his trios collecting that Surge. And you kind of look at their stats and their performances now, as a team, they do have a high damage ratio, but it's Veer that's actually taking the role, getting a lot of their Surge. He had a 2.16 damage ratio, while Threats had a 1.64, I do believe. So they're both up there in damage, but you can see a lot of these duos really defining their roles when it comes to getting Surge versus getting a lot of the missing loadout spots and the resources that you need.
And Threats is for sure underrated when it comes to that, but look at this, Kaz and Soneto using that Overdrive Shock to go and rotate out. They already picked themselves up in elimination here, so pretty much content with the overall damage that they've done, and they're trying to get to the side of the zone here to likely just pressure other teams out. Meanwhile, you have Salt in enough here, likely getting cut off, so it might just be a clash happening as we start talking about that. Veno, of course, up to no good here, sneaking in, jumps inside the box, and I mean, this might just be all she wrote. Yep, making it look nice and easy. The shotgun shot was so massive there, and he just doesn't miss. What do you do with this abundance of loot here now? I mean, this is a crazy hot start for them.
Yeah, that's actually, they get the 2 eliminations off drop. Obviously, they're not able to loot those. And I was thinking, man, you helped Electro, one of the guys he just took down, because now they're uncontested towards the south. But Veno leaves no stone unturned. He looks around, catches them off guard, and I think that's a decent strategy, because now they thought they were kind of free. They get uncontested. The team they were fighting went down. What are the odds somebody lurks on us? Well, pretty high when you're going against Veno and Curve on the other side, and that's going to help them a ton for their Surge. Remember, right out of the gates, they got the 200 because of the full eliminations there, and then another 200 there from the lurk. So I would imagine Veno and Curve as of now are positive 400 damage.
I mean, like they've taken no damage. So amongst all that, not only that, they haven't taken any damage, so they've actually absorbed the full, benefits, right, under the new Surge kind of ruling. Very, very strong position to be in right now. This is just game one, right? So how are the teams going to adjust now? Because they have to do something different. Surely you gotta have their guard up a lot more. You can see from Electro's perspective, he's like, my bad, bro. It's like, oh,
no, that was more than my bad, bro. That's one I feel like he's not gonna live down after that one. The community might not let him, because that's two things that went wrong, because he wasn't able to catch the lurk from Veno, and then he makes a mistake with the shockwave. But for Veno and Curve, they're eating good at Battlewood, because not only that, they pull the actual zone. It's still early, third zone, but for now they have very little to worry about against everybody else.
I saw a clip yesterday. People were circulating someone falling off a high ground. I'm not gonna name no names. It was rough. It happens. But that, broadcast put that one back for y'all. Sorry.
It absolutely shows the pressure, I think, that a lot of players are going through. And I think as the day does go on, a lot of those mistakes will kind of cease to exist. They'll kind of tighten up. But until then, that's what you kind of see. But you see, I was talking about Threats Beer being great fighters. Muzz got to be the most effective fighter in play-ins. 2.67 damage ratio. That's not a meme. That is just pure dominance coming out of Muzz. And him and Sphinx, they already have a Div Cup win under their belt this season as well, performing well in Reload Elite Series. So it thinks like their former teams, they got cursed, they broke up, they had to play together, but now it looks like a blessing more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely love that stat. Just flexing how good, how smart of a player Muzz really is. Start talking about smart plays here. Cuban and Cryptic going for a dead side rotate right now, playing the outskirts of the Battlewood. So far, so good. Loadout's looking pretty strong. They're in a pretty prime situation to do good things here to kick things off. And those y'all just tuned in, remember what's on the line right now is your ride to the finals. Can you pull in the big victory royale? Will you have to just be consistent and show up here in the lobby? 52 players for the first time here inside the Heats that are looking to make their potential first finals. You love to see it, but it also just flexes that what feels like basically the bulk of the lobby, right? The other half of the lobby has been here, has done this before.
Down underneath through the tunnels. It's an easy way to rotate without being spotted up above, but you have to be careful. You never know if somebody else is lurking underneath in that tunnels, especially since you can hear the footsteps from above you. So right now, for Accept, his duo, they're able to get the inside vaults underneath. I forget what it's actually called, but you kind of go through these tunnels. It unlocks one of those little things that you can pick up, and then you take it there to get the legendary chest. And it's one of those things that you have to go in and out of these tunnels in order to get spawned on the map.
I like how they understand, too, that, hey, we got to be really tactical here. And look, it ends up paying off. This is a team that's not as cautious as them, and this is exactly what you need to look out for, and this is what Blind and Accept we're trying to not have happen to them. I was going to call out the fact that they're spending a lot of time right now in the mid-game with not a lot of material, but hey, who needs to farm when you can go ahead and get an elimination and eat up just like that? And that's going to bode very well for their Surge overall as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You can't get caught underneath, especially if a team is already lurking. As the game goes on, it becomes more and more of a no-fly zone, so to say. But they're 196 above the damage threshold. So for this zone, they honestly don't have to necessarily move. Yes, they have to get to zone, but don't have to worry about Surge. Cooper, Reed, they got a little bit of worry in their minds. 122 above the damage threshold. Reed looking like he was going to get aggressive there. They got some early damage on that team, but you can see the zone is pulling towards the south, even though there's not too many players around of the third party. As this game continues, that threat will increase.
I like the instant response there by Reed, playing alongside Cooper. Whoever made the comms to double back there, playing in sync, which is what's most important. Even now, though, there's potential airdrop down low, but full focus here on getting their material counts back up and stabilized. Meanwhile, have Yex and Ducky here, just below the Surge right now. 69 damage below. Plenty of potential opportunities to take a fight nearby him, but only got a couple seconds to make a move here. It's going a bit back and forth here as other teams are already looking to engage.
Yeah, you can kind of see right now, 45 above the damage threshold. They're right there next to zone. But once we go into the next phase of the game, that Storm Surge, they might be under it, so they need to start being proactive to try to get that damage. For now, it's all fine and dandy, 45 above, but that's why you see Ducky getting aggressive, trying to take control of the pieces that we can fire off from above. But since they're out the edge of zone, they can look back. They see so many other teams that also still have to make their rotation in. And with the overdrive shockwave grenades being the primary mode of rotation, there's going to be so many chances for them to accumulate that damage.
Gotta continue to be flexible here. Get the damage. Landed tags. Don't miss out on any opportunities. Starting to jump in with Hound. Someone we've seen time and time again. No stranger to these set lobbies right now. Looking very, very much solidified. 368 damage above the threshold. QT's aim. Meanwhile, Muzz and Sphinx a bit low on shields right now. They've gotten into a bit of a skirmish. However, they are positioned relatively finely on the overall damage here. I've already turned the lobby back against Cube's duo there in the distance.
Kind of seeing the south side of this zone becoming more and more stacked, maybe even the east side as well. That's where it was already open up, and it's opening up more so on the north and the western side. So if you're ready to take that risk, you could try to grab some open land where nobody's there. Unless you're going to be stuck here with Muzz and Sphinx to lease them. They got almost 400 damage above that threshold. One less worry in the back of their mind, but 79 people still left alive. You said it yesterday, sometimes the game ones move a little bit slower than the rest of the day.
Yeah, normally on NA especially, that's very, very relevant, right? Like, that's a relevant take. Today, it feels exactly like that. You know, this is what I expected out of Heat 1, given how many newer names were kind of showing up. Heat 1 was moving, I'd say, fairly fast for what it's worth in Game 1, but Heat 2, much different, much more traditional pacing here. This is not looking too hot right now for Reet and Cooper, though, who are under the surge right now. A couple tags there are going to buy them a little bit of relief. This is going to be a critical opportunity now to find some tags to get just a few to stay in the game here. And even just these couple seconds, right? Even those couple seconds is super important. Look at this. Muzz, Sphinx, uncharacteristically finding themselves way below now. They were already desperately exchanging heals just in the fight before this. Now forced to dig deep once again here.
I feel like this is something we saw yesterday, honestly, from Agers, from Ritual, Rise, Curly, teams that booked their ticket to the grand finals. They were games. They were in this exact position, below the damage threshold, getting struck by active surge, having to bounce up and down that actual damage threshold. And you can see Sphinx out of heals, 23 damage above. They have to hope on this next rotation they're able to get the damage that they need, because you see that's further and further away. Teams already prioritizing their rotation ahead of Muzz and Sphinx, and even Muzz has no extra heals in his inventory, so it's almost a must that they need an elimination here.
Yeah, I like the idea that they tried to take out that duo on the side there, but this is extremely sus right now. Again, no heals here, no room for error. Muzz unfortunately didn't land close enough to another enemy there, and he's just trying to trail behind Sphinx. Oh, whoa. What was that? Someone shockwaved him out. Sphinx gets sent out to the side there, too. This is really rough.
Yeah. Solo shockwave from Sphinx. Send Muzz flying back a little bit. He goes down, sends him further below the damage threshold. 3 more ticks is all Muzz can really take here in this situation. 1 more already down. He has 3 extra HP. Chris and Drew are there. You see him leaving the extra mats. He's saying, hey, if you're going to get this elimination, you're not going to get much for it. And he's just making sure to deny anybody those extra resources if he's going to go down anyway.
Yeah, no free handouts over here. That's a competitor through and through to the very end. I'm looking at this wide eye. I was just about to say Veno is in desperate situation here now. Very low HP, but seems like he's managing to bounce his way back. Just having to use the Chug Jug here. Curve on the lookout right now. Damage looking good for the duo. Taking a look though, no one's really situated position up for high ground. Acorn and Bolts might be the first to take a stab at it here, but big damage coming in now. This is going to be bad for Bolts and Acorn as well. What's going on? Also below the surge.
Chug Jug. this is not looking good. You hit the nail on the head. They are so far below, and even they are out of their extra heals. This is desperation mode at its finest. One more tick, Bolts goes down, no knock, straight eliminated. Acorn is able to use the Flowberry Mist while he gets above the damage threshold, but he knows his job is not done just yet. He elevates himself high. This is going to be his best chances to get surged, but other players shockwaving by, land a couple of more shots. No extra heals for Acorn means he needs a miracle of an elimination here.
Dude, he's got some max to work with, but can he find a siphon? This is going to be very difficult. I love the confidence that a play for high ground, right? This is a real veteran move to say, you know what? I'm super low. However, I got materials. I got to play for my best advantage possible. Let's commit to high ground. Zone ends up pulling somewhat not too favorably here. He's going to have to bounce his way in, and nope, he gets caught in the play there. And just like that, big names falling very early here, and you know, anything can happen. You talk about that passive you tend to see in game number one. Hey, it plays out even for the best of us.
Yep, everybody kind of falling. 2 Storm Surges getting dropped down, even Eulogy's down here. He's hoping to out-heal it. He does have the Fizz Med Grenade, so that way he can drop it down. That's at least 100 more shield, but he's so far below that damage threshold, he either has to make a huge risk trying to get into a box or hope to survive it with the heals that he has, and he's choosing the latter. Even Cold on the other half, along with Rapid, having some trouble with the Storm Surge. They finally get ahead, but is it too late? Because now Cold is stuck on the outside of the zone, separated from Rapid, trying to find his way back. If no elimination so far, they need to start putting the pedal to the metal, or this opportunity will escape their grasp.
Yeah, movement just looking a little sloppy there, missing edits, missing climbs. No, and then he gets caught from a pre-edit from the other side of the wall. So Rapid has a decision to make now. Do you play this game out, try to play for the res, or just push through the opponents? It's actually A-Cube on the other side there. Finding his little bit of piece control here. Cold has to drop what little bit of heals that he can, but the zone bounces back. Okay, this is actually favorable. Rapid just has to clutch up right now.
Yeah, he's going against a whole duo trying to break into the box. He's had so much time here to try to get that revive. It's just a fly at a picnic. They're trying to get his food. He just keeps shooing them away. Finally, he's finding success. He does have the med kit as well, but the zone is now creeping up on Cold, who does not have the HP to take too much damage. You got Teeks here, along with Naves, going underneath. They have an opportunity to try to look back and catch somebody off guard because they are in the front side of the zone, but they are quickly running out of materials.
Meanwhile, high ground, though, has Reet and Cooper, 3 eliminations, couple of mats to work with, and they're pressuring the second and third layer teams here. And this is looking very good for Reet and Cooper, but I'm going to assume that they're going to need a refresher here in just a couple moments. Can they find themselves an Elin? Overall, though, look at those SMGs. The first SMG, perfect for applying pressure from top down. Meanwhile, look at Veno's POV. He's bounced his way back in the game, still has plenty of heals to work with as well, and they might be looking to play that overdrive for high ground as well.
Yeah, that was a good play by Veno, just kind of leading the charge, knowing that his zone is going up that mountain just a little bit. They're trying to prepare just in case they do go for that shockwave. As you see Teeks down below, he found the tunnel. Good luck trying to get out of this one because the zone is closing in. He's definitely putting himself on a clock, gets the resources from his teammate. That might have been the plan all along because now he uses the Fizz to get inside of the zone. But Veno goes down, leaving Curve by himself outside with only the pizza in his pocket. He has to use it instantly. Shockwaving with the Fizz. They don't make it into zone and they get cut short outside of the top 10.
Cold is somehow back to max HP as well, and they found the refresher. Look at this. Max shield, max health, and he's back like he never left. This is a very close game for them, and talk about a comeback story now playing out. Meanwhile, Veer on the wrong side of the barrel taken down, and that's going to be 4 eliminations now for the duo. Reet and Cooper have to look out for this team because the momentum is starting to add up down low, and they're fizzling out up top.
Yeah, there's only 3 full teams, and you mentioned all of them. Everybody else down below running around as solos, and Cooper and Ree are not letting anybody breathe. They're suffocating them from above. The amount of pressure is insurmountable. Even Neko is just trying to build up to alleviate some of that from the high and the low, but he gets pushed right back on down. Rapid and Cold have to start thinking about a plan B. High ground might not be the play, so they immediately charge down low. Cold trying to break into the box. His second life here in this game, and he's trying to make it matter. Rapid does the same thing. A huge elimination down below gives them control of the low ground.
This is crazy. Rapid goes off, does his own thing. Cold does his as well, and Raven's all left in the middle here. Huge shot from Cold, though, to keep him in the game, and that's the refresh that they need. And look at this, mistakes from up top. Cooper takes fall damage damage, and now Reap has to come down by himself. But who wants to be in this situation? Rapid, Cold are here to show up, and they win game number 1 in somehow clean fashion from their side.
If you're Cold, everybody looks at him. The guy doesn't scrim enough. He doesn't practice enough. He doesn't get on the game enough. Well, this is FNCS. He's a prime time player playing with Rapid, and we didn't even really talk about them enough coming into this game. Zeke, what do you have to say now?
Whew. Whew. Oh my gosh, it's almost like Vivid said, oh, what did he say? It was like a premonition. When it's FNCS time, suddenly Cold comes alive. Man, game 1, that is crazy. You know, we maybe predicted a little bit differently on our top 5 how they could win, but look, Cold and Rapid were in that top 5, right? To see them come out with a win, I'm not surprised, Kelly, but man, it looks good. And the uppercut to end it all too. Ooh, clean.
Oh, very clean. Listen, no good analyst will ever give just a one team answer. We definitely said that Cold and Rapid could have been in first place too. But I mean, to go from being below Storm in Zone 7 to getting downed in Zone 10 to have Rapid be able to pick him back up and then win the game, Vivid, starting day 2 off strong.
I mean, just super impressive from them to, I mean, obviously, you know, we could kind of boil things down to that 2v2 that kind of happened at the end there and put question marks around how they actually went ahead and picked that win up there. But really, yeah, the highlight is just the recovery for them as a duo. I mean, they got a little bit blessed when the Storm did go their way and Cold was knocked and Rapid did need to go ahead and find that res. But after that, it was just clinical, right? They just stuck together. They claimed out some space that they could work with. They picked up the eliminations, and it was like every single time they found themselves on like 0 to 5 more builds, they just found their refresh, right? The timing was perfect. They used exactly what they needed to in the situations, and they just clutched up. And I love MDF kind of talked about it at one point too. They were like 2 solos at one point, right? Like how much they were actually back to back and next to each other throughout a lot of that end game. There was also at one point where they separated. They both were able to pick up their own elimination. So just an absolute clinic from Cold and Rapid, and a huge win in game number 1.
It's got me hyped. We have 4 more games of Fortnite. But for now, a short break. When we return, we'll take a look at the lobby list, see kind of how things shook out after game 1, and prep ourselves for game number 2. We'll see you in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to the FNCS game number 1, going over to Cold and Rapid. My gosh, what an incredible start to Heat number 2. We do have 4 more games to go, but let's talk about what happened in this last game. We, of course, will take a look at our live list in just a moment and kind of talk about some of the duels we saw perform here. I think we should probably talk about Reed Cooper. Some crazy stuff going. Do we need to? Check, follow social media. Maybe you'll see some crazy things happening. It seems like maybe something transpired in the end game there, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about their performance leading up to that. They look amazing, right? Like, they look really strong. There were some kind of touch and go moments in the game, Kelly, but like being below Surge a time or two, but it's just game 1, Kelly. Everything's fine.
I mean, actually, Reed and Cooper, compared to everyone else that I was watching, a lot of our big teams wasn't having too many issues with Storm Surge compared to everyone else. So to see them be able to use that and then kind of turn that into a height hold from all the way from zone 9 to the very end, and then just a simple misplay. But that really does spell what the FNCS is that you can play everything perfectly, and then just one little misstep pivot could spell disaster.
Yeah, we were watching, we were like, wait, what just happened? I didn't know what happened until that moment right there. Shout out to the replay for kind of giving us a little bit of insight into how that one kind of broke down. Because obviously, they had to play to make it all the way down there and take that 2v2 fight. But a little bit of an early edit there from the boy Reed. Sends Cooper to his demise. That being said, a second place. Obviously, they got to be feeling comfortable after that game. Yeah, they didn't pick up the win, but I feel like the control that they had over the lobby, not only in the end game, but also over the lobby enough to be, one of those teams, one of those, rare teams that felt like in that lobby that was actually okay when it was, concerning Storm Surge. They got to be feeling good after that game. And of course, sitting first place on that consistency leaderboard. But another one of our teams, Kelly, we were kind of coming into the show today, coming into the games today. We were expecting them to do well, maybe expecting them to win one of the first games. Got to be Veno and Curve down there in 9th place. And specifically, this is one of those teams that was struggling with Storm Surge in that mid game.
Yeah, there was a moment around Zone 7 where we saw Curve and Veno had a pretty decent loadout, and I think a lot of that comes down to the early game that we're watching right here. We do know that not only are they contested at Boulevard, but also South Boulevard has another team, but Veno does not care to be contested. He's going to make sure that those players are down and out before they can even hit the ground. And that early aggression is something that we can definitely expect coming out of Veno and Curve. Being contested has never slowed him down. And then being able to kind of turn that early aggression and then be able to coast throughout the middle game until this very final point where they just really weren't able to find their footing. They were kind of sticking to the mid ground. Going for height just did not work out for them. Reed and Cooper able to catch them out real quick.
Yeah, I mean, tough break for the duo there. They had the play, right? We've seen that exact play made so many times before by different teams, even by themselves. But hey, shout out to Reed and Cooper right there for fighting that one off and being well aware of that possibility. They kind of deserve to hold height after being that well aware of something like that.
Crazy stuff. Let's talk about Acorn and Bolts as well. We kind of found ourselves in a little bit of a precarious situation there at the end. Acorn kind of flying solo, but again, guys, this is just game 1, right? There is a meta within the actual tournament itself. So even though we had a little bit of, kind of crazy end game, everything's fine. We still have 4 more games for them to perform. These guys have to get that win, right? Are we seeing any issues happening at the moment? I mean, 7 below, Kelly?
So a lot of our top teams were below Storm Surge and Acorn is a very calculated player. He'll look at the lobby and he'll look at the map and kind of plan around teams that are landing near them, his rotations. But when it comes down to heats, you don't really have that much of a plan going into it. You don't even know if these teams you're going to be competing in the grand finals. So it's not too surprising for me to see someone like Acorn and Bolts not have kind of the standout plan that we've seen from Acorn before, because this isn't what he's building a plan towards. If that makes sense.
It was actually crazy. They were set up pretty well that game, right? We kind of tuned in with them before we got to the later parts of that game and kind of like where we saw them go down. And it looked like they were actually pretty healthy off, but they just went for one little rotate. They took so much damage that Storm Surge ratio, it just absolutely depleted. And after that, way too hard to recover.
So yeah, I mean, guys, let's talk about this for a moment. Storm Surge is kind of a bit of an issue right now. Why do we feel like that is? I love that Kelly kind of calls out that a lot of these players are thinking about finals, right? This is a little bit of a different situation being in heats because you're right, Kelly. Sometimes you think, dude, I'm already planning for this other duo I'm gonna have to fight, but now I've got this other piece kind of in the way. Like, how can we fix this going into game 2?
I mean, if you're Veno, you have teammates land near you. You can just get the damage on them early on. But Acorn and Bolt are going to be uncontested. So maybe rotating early, trying to find some teams that might not have necessarily great rotational plans to just get a few dinks on them. But I don't know, David, what do you think?
Just got to do better. Not get hit at all while you're on those rotates, man. I don't know. It's really tough to kind of figure out this Storm Surge.
Right.
That being said, this is the first time in an FNCS that we've actually seen this Storm Surge. So there is going to be a little bit of an adjustment period for some of our players. But yeah, I mean, classic. Just do better.
Just do better. There we go. Listen, everything's fine. No one freak out. That was just game 1. It is time for game number 2. Let's see how some of our players bounce back and prepare themselves. So casters, take it away.
Thank you, Zeke. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is a very new setting, right? We talked about the lobby difficulty jumping up here, Jacob, and it seems like we're watching that play out in real time now.
Yeah, and there's like a little bit of a point like threshold you're aiming for. 145 yesterday was the point threshold for heat number 1. It may not be exact today, but at least you have a little bit of a goal. And when you're looking at the teams, Reed, Cooper, even though they didn't win the game, they're halfway there. So mistakes may happen, but with 4 other games left, there's plenty of time for them and everybody else to kind of fix these mistakes and get on to the next one because game 2 is ready. So let's just keep the ball rolling.
We all know the boards and the bingo boards are usually safe for finals weekend, but if you were counting on a tier 1 pro editing out another on high ground, well, there you have it. You are reading into the future. Fun stuff happening here. This is just the start of things. Game number 2 now cooking up. And even in the last round, right, that game 1 starting off so exciting with Veno sniping someone straight out the sky, picking up a full duo fresh. So this is what we like to see. Plenty of just interactions that you can never really prepare for.
I'm just sitting laughing to myself right now because as you guys know, you win a game, you're on to the finals. You don't have to play anymore. Cold and Rapid may have had 1 team contesting here at most. They're out of the lobby. Now we have 4 teams at Dark Dominion say, hey, they're gone, they won, maybe I can mimic that success. But let's see who lives to tell the tale at Dark Dominion, because that's going to be a hard one, not only to survive, but to get any loot out of as we jump on toward Wonky Land, a contested fight we saw yesterday and today. This time it has a buff loot aspect, a higher chance to get those rare chests, more gold. So again, we talked about it last game and we talked about it yesterday. It might be a POI you can split. It definitely should be one here.
Yeah, definitely. When you have that extra loot, chances, of course, to go ahead and fall there. Just to talk about the Dark Dominion a little bit more, yeah, that's crazy. 4 teams trying to adjust their strategy. You know, looking at the Heat 2 drop map, when you start looking in general, okay, who's contesting who, there are a lot of, like, newer teams, if you will, like first-time maybe Heats or first-time potential finalist teams contesting one another, all on the outskirts. I don't blame them for making that move, but in some other ways, you just got to stick to your guns, you know? So we'll see who made the wrong decision this go around. Jump back, though, with Zonda's fight here. This is carrying on. You have Zen and Terratron, who have the high ground right now. Looking good. They put a little bit of pressure down, a couple shots, then he back off. Zen not too happy with his loot situation there. And, you know, again, you want to do damage and not take damage, right? So sometimes just getting a couple tags is the best you can ask for.
Yeah, it's some success. It's just the little wins along the way, along the journey. Back on over to Wonky Land, though. I would say, hey, maybe you can split it, but it's just a matter if you want to actually try to split it. Cyclops, Bluish, it might seem like they got the better end of the deal when it comes to the overall loot. Full HP as well, and they're pressuring them down below. JB's getting pushed further and further down. Smiley tries to go up and make a play. Trades a shot between him and Bluish. So again, evenly matched when it comes to overall HP. Up until then, JB lands a big shot onto Bluish, but the Fizz Med Grenade is already down. So instantly, he's starting to regenerate that shield.
Like Cyclops situation here, but like we talked about, already wasting some important heals. They just go all in. Cyclops finds the bigger tag there, but Smiley gets traded out in the exchange. So this is a 1-for-1. But no, Bluish actually barely holds on there. You can see they don't have extra heals, right, to bounce back. So they can't make a mistake now.
Especially with the Chaos Reloader. Both of them are just one pump away from going down, but He jumps out in the open. Cyclops Blue is, hey, sometimes you just got to go ahead and take it. Use our numbers advantage. He can only down one of us at best, and they take the risk. It works out, and they get the rest of Wonky Land by themselves. Just a matter, do they know the rotational tricks using that wheel there? Because it doesn't matter how far the zone goes, they'll be able to catch up to it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like he could have chose the other team, right? Unfortunately, who had like 10 HP total effective. But all good. They win the Wonky Land. They should be set up for success. Meanwhile, in the feed, while that fight was happening here, yeah, you saw Veno find his elimination here at the Battlewood Boulevard. They rotate in. They make quick work of that duo. And then another as we kind of blink away, coming straight south here. So, well played for them.
That's literally everybody that landed at Battlewood. They did it last game, and they did it again here in back-to-back games. They want Battlewood to themselves. Like, how much loot can you possibly take with you? But with the zone kind of moving up, you know they're going to probably try to go to the north side of Battlewood Boulevard, set up on one of those mountains, unless the zone keeps pulling north, of course. But a hot start for Veno and Curve. And I got to give a shout out to Mom and Pop Curve out there that probably has him up on the big screen. I love when parents support their kids and their dreams, and Curve has all the support in the world.
That's awesome. Definitely want to see some screenshots up on the timeline here later. We'll see. But for G Monster, Magma right now, hot in the mix here. Very healthy and somewhat dominating this engagement right now. He's got Aim and Hound on the run big time here. There goes the splashes. Some crucial heals coming out already.
Studios still, you can kind of see, like, not only for the fight here, but it's that mending machine that a lot of teams typically, like, condition teams, like, hey, this one's ours. There are plenty on the map. You can go to the next one, but this one is ours. You even see G-Money kind of in the distance. You might have missed it, throwing extra loot over to those vending machines because that's exactly where they're going to box up. And G-Money, one of the players, you know, started as a controller player, moving on over to keyboard and mouse, so he's had that duality of knowing how each and every one of these players like to approach the different fights. Stacks AOCOD here, center map, and this is where they got to be careful because you can kind of see it in the mini-map. I know they don't necessarily have the same luxury to get the information we do, but they're right there in the middle, and there are so many other teams lurking around on that terrain, the environmentals that are there, that they can lurk around to try to get an easy shot if they continue to go around for loot.
Yeah, that was crazy. They were in like maximum danger, and you just have no idea. There's two duos. What looked to be lurking each other at that point as well. Acorn, though, playing deep in the storm here. We saw this backfire on Blake yesterday as they caught Storm Sickness trying to heal off at the end game. Cost them a win, but they still qualified nonetheless, Preston and Blake. We think the strat here is for Acorn and Bolts as they're just buying some time. Getting back with Cooper and Reed. Overdrive shock to get out the fight.
Even though after game number one, Reet had the most damage of any other player in the game, you can kind of see their strategy isn't necessarily to fight every single person, every single opportunity they get. They're just trying to slowly rotate towards the slow side of the zone. They see it's pushing all the way on over towards the east. Most of those teams will try to box up center, and they're trying to use that to their advantage to get to an uninhabited part of the zone to try to make their game easier for the next couple of zones. Muzz and Sphinx, we saw them in that last game have a ton of struggles when it comes to Storm Surge, but one thing I know about these two players here is they'll never make the same mistakes twice in a singular tournament.
I'm actually really kind of confused here. They only earned 3 points, you wouldn't have thought it, given that they made it pretty far into the mid game, but that's the difference when you fall up short on the placements because you drop early. Pretty interesting stat there, just flexing that although other teams may not have gotten hit, Cold and Rapper were destroyed essentially by the Surge and still managed to get the win there. Oh no, there's no way this works twice now. Come on.
I don't think Kipo was the one that fell for it along with Breezy, so they might not know. And I've never seen the cones edited in that way, down underneath to give you that extra live, so that way you can kind of peek the shot like that, kind of snake it a little bit. Peek up, fire the shot, pop right back down, kind of some of the old-fashioned Tfue ways of OG, but I think Breezy, his duo know, like, hey, we cannot continue to wander here underneath for free, especially since they weren't the first ones to go down under there. Too much of a risk, so I like the decision for them to get out of there.
Yeah, definitely good play. They did any research on any highlights from the last game. You would have saw that one coming pretty early. Evo plays Breezy already on the move right now. They have a nice little elim to themselves as well, so Alta better start this game than last.
Just got to be careful rotating in the open. Even if you think it's safe, there's so many teams either set up in bushes, surge towers, or anywhere they can find inside of the zone. Raven, CDZs, that honestly impressive performance here out of Raven to clutch up a top 3 after that game 1. 67 points, or I believe it's actually 61. They were able to get 6 points due to the eliminations in this game. Just honestly keeping that consistency. And that's what you kind of want to do, because to think you're going to play every single game and every single moment perfect, I think would be almost crazy. So you have to build yourself a little bit of a gap, so that way when things don't go your way, it's easier for you to bounce back out of it, both in-game and mentally.
And having the confidence even there to kind of push for the airdrop. So you gotta respect their comfortability right now, even given the Heat's lobby here. Reek Cooper. Gonna back on down to the Sanctuary here. See plenty of teams on the high ground layers above them, but they're just comfortably farming their way through the valley here.
Quickly rotating down from their drop spot is actually huge for Reek and Cooper, because they're dodging, even though this is south where they're at, just towards the east, they're dodging this whole mid portions of the game where teams need surge, they need materials, they need resources, and sometimes the only way to get those is to break into boxes and get elimination. So they're doing a good job, especially since how north they actually started. That launch pad, dodging that one team along the way, and you see AIM and Hound. This is the second time we've seen them in a close quarters combat situation. They dodge the first one, they stay alive, they get elimination, and look at where they're set up inside of zone. There are so many dips and divots around this side of the map that when you have priority like this, you have to be feeling good.
And they also have that launch pad as well, so they're going to be in prime situation. But look at this. This is how the fight breaks out. A lurk play, another massive lurk play. These NA teams are just playing absolutely sneakily, and it's working out for the most part. We have Zello, Bob right now sitting above, talking about the lurks. Might be looking to set up another one here on the Stepperuni.
Yeah, they're just on a time limit right now. Instead of being able to kind of wait as long as you want until they make a mistake, they're 267 below the damage threshold. So when Storm Surge activates, they're going to have to break into one of the first boxes they see. Stiff trying to play it carefully, not break the full covers, but Zello goes in. Hefe's there trying to follow by his side, but neither one of them land the shots they need. In fact, it's actually the opposite. Hefe takes a huge amount of damage. He's able to trade out at least one of those knocks, but he's just trying to back up, stay alive. But even though they got the knock, they got the elimination, they just took over 150 damage, so they are still below the threshold.
Oof. I was just going to say, while that's happening, look at this. Cube and Encrypted just sneak on up, hearing the fight breaking out. They know here, too, hey, we got that insta elimination, so this team clearly was doing what they had to do. And they probably don't want any more to do with that fight, but Hefe and Zello are probably going to need to keep fighting this. We saw there, I mean, they were barely above. Taking that little bit of damage in the exchange is not ideal, so they're not going to be safe for much longer. Meanwhile, you have Jace's duo kind of on the pressure here. Stacks and Crew just kind of positioned up down low. This Storm's going to start doing some significant damage here. Don't get a move on shortly.
And this is a team here, even though we're just starting FNCS Major 1, we're in heats. When you were watching the Reload Elite Series, Jason Jargo, one of the teams throughout the tournament, they were in contention. They were so close to getting that qualification spot. It's just slowly, as the tournament went on, they fizzled out, they lost momentum. And I'm just hoping from then until now, there was plenty of time to build the chemistry, find the strats, and fix what wasn't working. So I'm going to be kind of looking at them throughout the day to see if they're one of the teams that lock in either a win or a top 10 spot through consistency.
Yeah, and even in that Reload Elite Series, right? Like, Jargo was showing up, saw Kingaling showing up, right? They obviously are two players that have been a little bit more of a focus on as far as the NA region is concerned, so I like to see Jargo and Jace here performing pretty well right now. Seems like things are starting to work out for them. I don't love seeing Jace's HP just getting cooked right now, so it's time to make it up. Very, very close, but jump into Eulogy, Degen right now. Zone's going to pull them out of the Sus Studios. Going to be one of the last to leave right now. Plenty of distractions happening on over to the south and the eastern sides. Good shots here from Drew, so danger continuing to lurk nearby. And look at this, Jacob. They are only 35 above, right? So this is another team that's going to become very desperate the moment they land inside the new zone.
Yeah, we didn't really see how DJ went down in that last game, but when we tune into Eulogy, he was below the damage threshold, trying to out-heal it. He was finding some success, but from one zone to the next, he felt even further below that damage threshold. Similar situation here. Just hopefully they can find it in him to answer the call. 5 below. That's barely anything. It's no reason to make any desperate plays just yet. Whether a pistol AR or a shotgun shot, that'll cover the spread. Zello gets elimination, but we saw how far below the damage threshold he was before. 3 eliminations here. He is 3 full eliminations almost away from going down to Surge.
Yeah, this is pretty rough. I mean, he's got plenty of heals to work with, but between the Storm and the Storm Surge, I mean, this is really rough here. Forced the Chug Splash now. It buys a little bit of relief, but he's really trying to wait this one out. He didn't want to leave the loop, but I think he's recognizing, hey, the math is not mathing. I gotta go. I cannot sit here in the Storm any longer.
Now it's active Surge, so it just got harder for him.
Too.
Yeah, the other side, 473. They're not even giving him time to pop the minis. Reet and Cooper probably being the leaders of that spray, but it gets cleaned up by a whole nother team. That's success for Reet and Cooper, though. That's one less team they have to work through here in this game. Jason Jargu, we talked about their success, and if they can carry it over here, they find another elimination. And we're already seeing early in these first 2 games of Heat number 2 that Storm Surge is truly impacting so many teams in this lobby.
I like that too. The insta shockwave there to land on that loot, secure the elimination. That's a huge refresh here as we start edging our way into the early instances of this endgame now. Let's take a look though. This surge has not stopped. It's continued to pressure everyone here in the lobby, even the likes of DGen now. Barely above here, not because they're active, but because other teams are exchanging with one another. So it's a little bit of luck on their side here. Game number 2, and they need these points. They're pretty desperate, actually. 15 coming into it, so not quite the game 1 they might have been looking for. It's a great opportunity here. No tags, breakthrough.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, though, sometimes when you finally get above that damage threshold, you're like, okay, cool, we can focus on the rotation. Then the next zone hits, the next damage threshold hits, and you find yourself below yet again. And usually in stacked games like this, where you get that early Storm Surge warning in the early portion of the game, it almost stays on throughout the entirety of the game till it gets down to around 40 or less players. So if Eulogy and DGen are looking to out-heal this for the next couple of zones, they need 19 individual players to go down or just simply get 84 damage.
Gotta find damage. That's an excellent headshot there on Takira. All I need is that follow-up body tag here. Can they get any ones? Yes, they do. It's going to actually be elimination there as well. And then the follow-up here onto a couple more players shockwaving across. So just perfect opportunities here now, kind of opening themselves up. And it pays off. DGen and Eulogy still do have to make a rotate there. Comes the edit, shockwave. Sphinx and Monks happens over here. Nice little refresh for them as well.
Fortunately, getting that elimination on Threats. No knock, which means Veer was already down. So Threats and Veer will be out of this game as Salt and Enough make the perfect rotation. That alone, that natural terrain is so high up. You don't necessarily need to build, but they build up even higher. Should try to negate any chances on this zone, at least, of getting shockwaved on. It is still rather early. 7th zone, moving into 8th. Plenty of time for that to get stolen away. As Acorn and Baltz, I saw him in the feed pick up an elimination. Glad to see how he actually got it.
This is good. We're seeing the teams that were coming up short last game make adjustments and now performing well. Cooper and Reet coming up short for much different reasons, obviously, in that end game, but excellent consistency so far as they're inside this end game right now. Only 70 above, but the finish line is near.
It's almost the difference in their strategy here, focusing on rotation early on in this game to get to zone. Not a lot of opportunities to get the damage, but you're seeing what they're playing with here. Muzz, I don't even know how he's alive right now. A sliver of HP. Luckily for him, he does have the Chug Chug and Cooper leading the charge, or say Sphinx, trying to get to the other side, but high ground beams him down. Sphinx now left by himself, and he's 39 below. Active Surge, and he drops even further, 200 below. He does have the big pots, he does have the Chug Chug, so he's not going to go out just yet. There is still time on his side, but the longer he takes, the further and further below that damage threshold he's going to fall.
Yeah, you see, it's 41 players though in the game, right? So he's just got to get a little bit more active. Great tags here. Can he get a finish though? That would have been excellent. Unfortunately, doesn't cover behind him. Gets tagged there in the rotate too, and there it is. Things finally turn off. Still has a shield to work with, so at least the Siphon can put him in healthy position here if he can find one. Meanwhile, Enough and Salt have managed to successfully turn that weird terrain into a continued high ground hold, but Veno and Curve are eyeing up top. Acorn and Boltstone making up for that lost time, right? 27 points now. They're finally starting to show us some life here.
Yeah, no matter what they're going through, they always look at high ground as an opportunity. Just gotta wait for the shockwaves, the fizz. They are looking up as of now, but they see him. They're getting pressured. Acorn trying to hold his position. Salt and Enough not wanting to give it up without a fight, but Reet and Cooper, they're elevating themselves as well. We're going back over to familiar terrain, so this is not going to be easy for anybody to overthrow them up at the top. Even Bolt is having a little bit of struggles, gets chunked out, dropped down to less than 30 HP, but luckily for him, he reunites with Acorn in an instant and already go from defensive to offensive, getting a good amount of damage, pushing that team further and further away.
That Flowberry miss just keeping them alive right now in the game here. The pizza, they're going to go in and munch that as well, and they've got enough, but Veno falls here, and then Curve gets sidelined without him realizing someone jumps inside the box. Acorn passing by some serious danger. There was a player in the cone there as well. So just danger lurking everywhere. It's actually encrypted. High ground, though, still being comfortably held now by Salt and Enough. They just got so much distance between themselves and all of the juggernauts in the lobby here.
For a moment, it was looking like Acorn and Bolts were going up, but Salt and Enough saw it coming, focusing onto that second height, send them packing down below, and now Bolts and Acorn are in another scuffle. Bolts picks up a big one onto Drew. Siphon mats absolutely needed, even getting a big pop, but time has come. Enough and Salt get dropped down, but that's only step number one, because they're instantly building their way back on up. They went over recycled builds, so it's not going to be easy, but Cooper, Reet, they go up, they use the shockwaves, and they've stolen away the high ground in back-to-back games here.
I love this, but look at this. G-Monster, Magma are coming up, and Reek gets folded like a pretzel there. Salt comes up as well. What is going on here? There are just some dangerous exchanges happening back and forth. Salt and Enough actually decide, hey, you know what? This is our high ground, and we want to take this win. And all of a sudden, down low, if you blink, you missed it. Acorn's down. Bolt's fending for himself here. Clutching up, though, with 2 more eliminations in the storm. It's the Siphon keeping him alive here.
Yeah, he's able to pick up some splashes, got some med kits. He has the Chug Chug and a decent amount of builds in comparison to some others in this lobby. Enough is going to be by himself. Salt did go down. We have G-Money, a full duo. Knaves and Teaks, a full duo. Encrypted goes down. That's a big elimination for both. One step closer and a little bit more resources to work with. Another solo taken down by G-Money and Magma down below. It's a battle of the duos who are taking full control over the game, and I use that loosely because that was G-Money and his duo, the only full team left alive against Enough and Bolt. A 2v1v1 situation. A lot of heals still in Bolt's inventory, though.
I just want to say Boltz is absolutely crazy. He's on like 4 eliminations solo right now, by the way. Just putting up the numbers here. Game 1 was a swing and a miss for Acorn and Boltz, but they are back based off of this performance from Boltz. Meanwhile, G-Money, Magma, just trying to figure out how do we stop this guy. He's like on fire right now, and Boltz is just giving him a run here. Enough jumps down. Wait a second. Now he's the distraction, and all of a sudden, Boltz is trying to pull the clutch off here.
Yeah, remember, he does have that one med kit. I don't remember what G-Money and Magma have down below in terms of actual HP heals, but that could be the difference maker here in this actual tournament. As you see, Boltz is on the top. You got Enough, kind of that meat in the middle of the sandwich, and he's following the zone all the way through. Magma tries to make a play. The down goes through. Extra siphon for Boltz, and he steals away the game. Oh my God.
I'm just holding my breath. Boltz is crazy. That might be the best clutch we've seen in 2026 and we might see for the remainder of the year. That was so wonderfully executed by Bolts, and Acorn's got to be happy there. Zeke, what a performance.
Bolts? Hello? What in the world am I watching? Oh my gosh. That was the craziest thing I think I've ever seen. It's so crazy, like in that situation. If you're G Money, you're thinking like, dude, there's no builds going out up there. Like, I can hear them running around up there. They ain't got, I have my duo here. This isn't, no, we're going through the finals. Bolt's just sitting there biding his time, Kelly, waiting for them to make a move, and then he strikes, and now they're going to finals off a solo clutch? That's crazy!
I can't believe what we just watched. I mean, pretty early on in that end game, Acorn and Bolts were on second height, and then they decided to drop down to low. Bolts did it really quickly, but Acorn just took a few extra seconds, and that allowed the entire lobby to just take some shots on them and drop it. And then for Bolts to be able to go as a solo, have that happen to your teammate, and then to turn it around for a win, to see that he saw I am enough, drop from high ground, and then to steal it as a solo. Vivid, I cannot believe what we just watched.
Incredible individual performance from Bolts. You know, we gotta go ahead and mention it. After game number one, Acorn and Bolts, we were talking about the strategy, their approach to that game, right? Because Storm Surge was such a hindrance in that first game, and we kind of tune in with them in the middle game. Yeah, look at this. Look how good this position is for them to just go ahead and deal damage. They were chilling after this moment right here. You can see 200 above with 0 elimination, so it was all about getting those tags. And yeah, like Kelly mentioned, they were in a really good spot as a duo. They were second height, they were finding the elimination, they were kind of poised to go ahead and potentially take the higher ground. Because of how the terrain ended up working out, they were forced all the way down to the lower ground. Acorn unfortunately ends up going down in the mix of things, and then after that, I mean, Bolts just took over and the show was all his.
I am just shocked, guys. To think game one, 28 with 4 elims, to just bring it back. I just want to watch. I just got to watch this back, dude. Bolts, you are such a legend. If I'm Acorn, I'm freaking out, dude. I'm like, dude, disgusting. That's incredible. That's crazy. That's insane. That was just game 2. We have 3 more games to go after this. Okay. I need to collect myself, okay? We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to rewatch that moment again and then get into the live list. We'll see you in a moment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So I'll cry by. This is my world. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive.
Okay, we're back. Welcome back to the FNCS. I'm sorry. I'm not over it. I gotta see that solo clutch from Bolts one more time. If you missed it, if you just tuned in, check out this moment. Okay, Acorn and Bolts, they're in game 2. They have not the greatest game 1. Acorn goes down. Bolt is left by himself. And you would think it's game over, Kelly. I thought it was. And then somehow, some way, Bolt forces the stars to align and comes out with the win. And now we will be seeing them in finals. Crazy!
I like that you say that he forces the stars to align, because saying the stars align implies that he didn't have any control over the situation. Bolt was in control the entire time. Even when things looked like it wasn't going to go this way, you could tell that he was calm and collected. It wasn't freaking out, Vivid. So impressive.
Yeah, just cool, calm, and collected. Played everything in the moment perfectly. Like, I couldn't have done that if you gave me like 10 tries at the exact same situation. Incredible stuff from Bolts. I'm interested to see how the leaderboard looks now that we've had some crazy couple of first games.
Well, let's take a look together. If you're just tuning in, you're seeing 1,000 points. Don't freak out, Timmy. That just means they got a Victory Royale, so we won't be seeing them for the rest of the day, but we will be seeing them in our finals. We want to end the day in the top 10, which is basically the top 15. And let's take a look at 122 points right now. Lendon and Nave sitting in that number 1 spot. Kind of scares me a little bit, though, right, Kelly? If I'm looking in 5th place, Reet, Cooper moving down a few placements. I'm a little scared. I'm a little worried, Kelly.
Shh, I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all.
You're
To
right,
already be in 3rd place for placements, considering that we, only have 3 more games to go. Even if they're continuing with what we have seen already, they are a shoo-in to at least get our top 10 through placements. But it is Cooper and it is Reet. You know that they don't want to go through placements. They want the win. And honestly, this game just looked so much better than what we saw from game number 1. Actually, they were doing good in game number 1 too. So I can't say it looked so much better. This just, once again, too many people up in the air. There's just so much chaos going, especially when you are on the high ground looking down below. You don't expect people to be flying above you. So I think for Reet and Cooper, this one can be excused.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, found themselves on the high ground again, but that one was short-lived. You can see that they kind of stole the high ground away, but before they even had a moment's notice to go ahead and relax and kind of connect to some old builds, there was already another team flying and contesting up there. So just maybe, caught by surprise there, which is surprising for a duo like Reet and Cooper, but I mean, consistently finding themselves up on the high ground and in healthy positions, they're looking good.
That leaderboard is looking crazy, right? I mean, even Benno Curve in that last game, we're still looking for that pop-off performance. I'm waiting for that Benno moment. I feel like he's waiting, right? He's lulling me into a false sense of security, but I know it's gonna happen, Benno. I know we're gonna come out with a win or some crazy play.
I mean, for him to now he got 3 eliminations in game number 1 by Zone 1, and now gets 4 eliminations off the drop. Obviously, their early game is not much of a concern for them right now, but to be able to go into the end game having so much more storm damage, but then still be able to kind of frantically run through the middle ground and not really be able to get your footing. For Curve and Benno, honestly, I think it could just literally come down to Zone 7, they do a dead side rotation and they just get lucky with a zone pull, and that could really just be the difference for them getting that Victory Royale. Speaking of the differences, Muzz and Sphinx right here as well, looking to be just kind of, and again, a similar situation we saw from game 1, Vivid, where they were below that damage threshold and hoping to make a few changes for game 3.
I mean, actually, they looked pretty good that game when we tuned into them, right? I saw they were 300-400 above, and you can say the same thing about a couple of our teams that struggled in game number 1. So I do think some of our duos already making those adjustments that they need to, but 3 more games left to go. They got to stay consistent or have that pop-off game.
Listen, if there's one thing I'm not, it's worried, okay? Because I trust and believe in Muzz and Sphinx. Okay, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Game 3's ready. Gaspers, over to you.
Honestly, Monster, things are already taking a turn from yesterday. To start this one, I said a lot of the big names in Heat 1 didn't win games. They got through for consistency, and already starting off, our 2 games here have been won by some of the biggest names.
Yeah, definitely. The big boys punching their tickets out, but like Bolts just messaged out online, it was by accident. He was like, dude, I'm just playing the game over here, and things just start falling into place. You'll have to see it, though. Game 3. We're already almost halfway through this. The battle bus is ready. Let's go, Jacob.
You said it yourself, the pivotal halfway point through today's heat, and well, it's not a time to worry just yet, but if this game doesn't go your way, depending on where the leaderboard says, you might need to go for a big win. So that's why it's pivotal. It's so important to get as many points as you can in this game to close that gap for the last half of the day.
Yeah, we haven't even been focusing outside, of course, on who's been consistent so far because these wins have been absolutely explosive. Game 1 was a huge surprise. Game 2 was an even bigger upset, right, with Bolt's performance. Like, at this point, I'm just wondering what's going to happen here in game number 3. But let's look at the Dark Dominion. Last game, we had 4 different duos here. Things have seemed to temper down a little bit. Now it's just 3, more or less. We got Void and Alfonso, Lors' team, and then Kira and Bubba.
I'm just wondering who up top, did anybody take Acorn and Bolt's spot? Because honestly, anytime I've ever seen Acorn and Bolts be contested at that top mountain, they've just absolutely dominated teams in everything from scrims, eval cups to FNCS itself. So now that the spot is open up, maybe a couple of other teams are like, hey, we'll try our hand at that. Some people were even last season looking at that as one of the best drops in the game due to the wingsuits. And now that it's changed, it's kind of being owned by Acorn and Bolts. They finally find success there here early on in this tournament. Veno and Curve, we saw them in the last 2 games. 2 games, Monster. Clear out Battlewood Boulevard single-handedly. This time around, it doesn't look like they got those same opportunities, but I don't think their aggression is going to slow down at all.
Yeah, you say single-handedly. I'm thinking almost instantaneously. Every time in the last couple of rounds we tuned in, it was all done and done, but it seems like teams are being a little bit more cautious here. But Veno has Diego. Just gets deleted there. Tries to roll to safety. Doesn't quite work out. Unfortunately, Suspects jumps to the side there. Finish things up pretty quickly here. Seems like they had a little bit of assistance from some teams in the distance, putting some shots in.
Stacks and Ayo. Just easy damage for them to start to accumulate that surge. I know you spoke about it briefly, as sometimes you start to take those fights, it's not necessarily for the eliminations every single time. Sometimes a win in itself is 20, 30, 40 damage while not taking a single point yourself. To jump on board Frigid Fortress, a lot of this fight throughout the first 2 games has been kind of split. They go their separate ways. This time around, it looks like Fishy and Jaeger looking like they actually want to take control of Frigid Fortress itself. They don't want to be the ones splitting and having to look elsewhere on the map for their loot.
Yeah, I will say I don't like the spot that they've landed themselves in right now. I feel like they are absolutely limited on the amount of material that they have access to, and you can see it's reflecting in their loadouts. As you look at Mako and Blanks here, were they considering actually chopping out the entire foundation of this tower? Possibly, but now they're looking for a little side angle here. They're probably just giving Jaeger what they want, though. They're bringing the fight up to them.
Yeah, it's kind of a brave move right here for Mako and Blanks because they're fighting from the low ground up, but you talked about the limited nature for Jaeger and Fishy. You see they have no extra heals. Jaeger barely has a sliver of shield, but he's missing HP, so that kind of evens out. They're at a huge disadvantage here in terms of loadout materials and overall resources. Then the longer they stay stagnant in this position, the harder it's going to be to make something of this game.
See on the side here, I know I'm flying and Except continue to try to lurk. The last time they almost caught Alfonso and Void on the other side. This time they come up a little bit closer. It seems like they might have anticipated that this team was going to get close. Double shotgun opener there. That Chaos shotgun hit so hard as well. And you can see it was 120 damage done, but the counterfire from Void was very effective there. Force the splash here. It's all up to flying here. He hasn't taken any damage, but Void's still dangerous.
Yeah, hops into the box the first time. He's willing to take a shot to deal 1. That trade will be worthwhile in his favor, but it does look like one's going to be able to get out. Void finally gets his cleanup. Siphon there. Big pot on the ground along with Minis. So if he has the time, he could get up to 200 effective shield and HP. But as this fight's going down, Bubba and Kira say, yo, I hear all this noise. Who didn't invite us to the party? Because now they're lurking down below. Flying does finish off his fight. He gets the elimination. But how long can you celebrate this before disaster strikes?
Yeah, I'm curious to know if Bubba and Kira paying enough attention to the feed at what this duo was. You know, obviously fairly newer team as far as recognition's concerned, so they probably don't quite understand the severity of the situation. It's just a solo in there.
How long do you wait? When do you start to make the noise? As long as they're getting those audio cues of him just stomping around down there, they're okay just sitting here. But the thing they need to be careful of is Dark Dominion has so much metal in the actual POI. Other teams that don't have that access begin to rotate in this direction and try to farm up at least a little bit. Flying senses that he doesn't hear anything up above. And sometimes when you're in a triple contested drop, lack of noise, lack of information is information in its own right.
Look at the quick highlight here from Veno. Curve continuing to find success here at the drop. Zen Monsta finished off instantly. Titron as well. A quick follow-up there. Curve and Veno just flexing their ability to fight as a duo. Definitely impressive.
I feel like with the 3 different games, the 3 different zones so far, you're kind of seeing each of the different paths that Reet and Cooper actually taken on the north side of the map, from rotating to the west to rotating straight south or following the shoreline when the zone went down there in that last game. Showing that they can be diverse. So if you're trying to prep for them, figure out what their blueprint is, it's not going to be easy. Minty and Autumn looking like they're trying to disengage away from this new sanctuary, and rightfully so. Once you're down in that divot of New Sanctuary, whether you're contested at the actual spot or not, you see how many surrounding mountains are there. So it's not as easy to get out as it was to get in.
It's definitely a riskier POI to play. Muzz and Sphinx, on the other hand, here at the Squibbly Shores, seem to be just fine and situated as they're rotating out. I've seen them have some problems, generally struggling with Storm Surge. Although the stats leading into this, you wouldn't have thought, coming out of the play-ins, how well and how successful they've been kind of in their early games. Something hasn't seemed to have clicked, at least after the first 2 games. See what their adjusted strategy is going to be like. I'm assuming they're going to be looking for a fight here shortly. We'll keep tabs on them.
Either that, or they're just so confident they know exactly where the zone's going to go, beat every other team there, and maybe try to box up in some of those trees that have the extra health. But Threats and Veer slowed down after their first game. We saw them go down rather early outside of a good chunk of those points in that last game. So now, I wouldn't say they're playing catch-up by any means, but they're in a similar situation as other teams in the lobby of the importance of this game number 3. Whether they win it and qualify, or just hopefully make it to at least top 8 to get half of those placement points, that is going to be the goal for them.
They're at least in the conversation though, right? Like, game 3, 57 points. Could be worse as we jump in with Blanks and Mako. Only 3 points. Ducky's team have yet to earn themselves anything. This is a new team that's rolled into the Fortress here, finding Mako.
One of the teams, I talked about the difference of Frigid Fortress. Mako and Blanks were actually pushed away from this game, other than the last 2 that they've been playing so far. They rotate towards the north, just try to get some extra scraps. They run into a Ducky and his duo here. They try to shockwave off the mountain, but that just leaves them susceptible to damage here. Great thing for them is they didn't take a ton. So depending on where they're at in that early game fight, they're either going to be barely below the damage threshold or possibly barely above.
Sneak Zoom right now, just kind of hanging out. 2 elims for them, so they've won their contested drop off the gate. Let's take a look at how that all played out. It's a quick and easy pickup there. Bad shockwave's going to leave Cube exposed there. Let's see what Encrypted's up to here as they're rotating right now. They're just outside the Wonky Wonderland. This game seems to be going relatively smoothly for them.
Like, unfortunately, not everybody can say it's as smooth. Reboot Vant was just used. You heard the noise. Maybe Kaz was trying to go for a saving play. Might have got jumped in by Ruins. Now they're getting pushed. He's trying to save the day, but does not get to finish that opportunity. But for Ruins and his duo here, 31 points. Sometimes you just need that one game to flip the switch. Momentum starts to go on your side, and you kind of steamroll for them. It's just only step 1. They just need to continue in the same trajectory that they're doing now. Teeks and Knaves, 122 points. This is our first place team coming to this game in terms of consistency.
Yeah, very good. This is the surprise. I'd say the surprise duo so far. Definitely the underdogs performing here. And there's a couple underdogs up there as well. CZ and Raven, you see, just hanging on behind them. So both games, game one being the stronger for Ravens duo. That third place was for sure impressive, but following right up behind that with another end game. Speaking of which, we get to get a little bit of a perspective in here at the looks to be the Dominion. Again, all that metal to play with. Puts you in a position of strength here, Jacob.
Yeah, just Reeton Cooper in the distance, using that big launch pad with the Fizz from Latte Landing. They can kind of land almost anywhere in the center of the map, even further, depending on how they play their cards. And I got to imagine it was out of render distance from Raven, which is why you didn't necessarily see him take shots in that direction. As Degen, Eulogy. This is a team right here, 62 points. They're performing decently well, but their biggest problem of the day has been Storm Surge. They're 223 above this time around. You can see they take an Acorn and Bolt spot after that last win. They're just hoping to be able to execute it just as good.
Yeah, Blanks and Mako have the high ground as well. But some big pressure here. Degen try to get to the launch pad. That's not going to go well if they hit that here too soon. Let's see what they got to go for the fight. Okay, a couple pizzas. The box has been thrown down, so this is good. I'm thinking they gotta pressure back here, right? You see yourself 200 above, you're taking exchanges, is directly dropping you down. You have to think that this is a fight worth full committing for. Meanwhile, Dash and Cam on the move here already find themselves on the favorable side of the zone. No eyes on them just yet.
Immediately making it in. And then sometimes that's what you got to do. You can't always go for the best position on the map every single time for every single rotation. Sometimes you just got to take what you can get. And the way this zone is going for Dash and Cam, that might be a good position to be able to get some surge there from other teams rotating in. Gotta say the launch pad right here, and this is another one. I talked about Reet and the Latte Landing large launch pad. That one right there is another one of those launch pads where it goes a little bit higher and a little bit further than some of the other launch pads on the map. And then if you combine it with the Flowberry Fizz, you can definitely get out of harm's way and kind of dodge the mid game just like this. But for Eulogy and Degen, we saw them 200 above, now 22 below, and Degen no longer here, so possibly an ill-advised fight, or maybe they got jumped on. Either way, Eulogy is stuck in this position again.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate, too, because the opportunity was right before him, right? Those players were absolutely exposed there. He just had to hit a couple more tags to buy some room, some time, if you will, and that would have honestly put him in a spot to not have to heal so soon here in the storm. Pressure's going to ease up for now, but the clock is, of course, ticking. He's going to have to go here. So many pizzas to work with.
Yeah, I'm just 7 above. He knows it's enough that he can kind of rotate in. He can make an attempt for Degen's reboot card, but at the same time, he needs to start figuring out how he's going to get damage. But we saw it's the launch pad. Degen probably trying to escape one fight, ends up getting targeted by a whole nother team and goes down.
Yeah, that was that first initial launch pad. We kind of called it out. It's going to be dangerous if he took it. They must have let their guard down. Get a little too confident on the escape plan, but enough in salt after that great execution of some high ground and then dropping the ball just a bit there in the end game. They fought hard, but they are in the conversation now at 61 points. They pop off this game, they'll be well on their way into a, honestly, probably a ride to the finals, right? A clean top 10.
So where we're seeing the difference between last Heat yesterday to where we saw Agers, Javi's team. We saw so many of those juggernauts that you'd think would get a win go through some consistency. Now that the opposite is happening here, we're actually seeing some of these up-and-comers, these players with the potential to pop off, actually being able to show their hand here at the top of the leaderboard. Veno and Curve is kind of mix up both of those. Curve kind of getting the limelight a little bit here this season. Rightfully so. He earned it not only through the offseason, but his performances throughout last year. Now he gets the big-time player with Veno on his side. And a slow start to their game, but I think it's because they're maybe going a little bit too aggressive here in the early portions of the tournament. I think if they just tighten up here for games 3, 4, and 5, they can either get a win or just boost up the leaderboard in no time at all.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely really cool. You know, at Globals, I had asked Reet, like, yo, what do you think about, like, Curly, Curve, right? These new gunners. He was just gassing him up. He's like, bro, this is the future. And it is nice to see someone like Curve playing with Veno now. This is arguably his big shot here to pop off.
Doggo and Ghoul seem to be going through it right now, but they're handling the pressure well. From below the damage threshold to above the damage threshold to right back below, all simultaneously having to rotate in towards the zone. Ghoul trying to get those minis off so that way the Storm Surge tick doesn't touch his HP as much, but Doggo doesn't have that same luxury, doesn't have the same heals, but he's peeking through the window, getting some good damage. They barely get above the damage threshold, but it's barely above that. Somebody could sneeze in their direction, they find themselves below, but for now, they're just happy with what they got. As long as they're above and not taking damage, that's a win for them.
This is where experience really starts to pay off here. How do you perform underneath this newfound pressure of the Surge? Obviously in a set lobby, you know everyone nearby you is probably exceptional at the game, but this is where you got to hit your shots to see what Autumn's got. He's bringing the battle to the opponents, and no, they let their guard down. Small mistake there, forgetting to check their sides, and Raven and CDZ have continued to show us that they have what it takes under the pressure. They were also just barely hanging on there, but they're the team that steps up and performs.
Yeah, and for them to actually get the down instead of everything else is huge, because then Raven and CDZ, they get knocked. That's damage there, and then they clean up the actual knock. That's extra damage on top. And you saw where they were at in terms of Storm Surge. That was much needed for them to stay calm, cool, collected in this scenario and continue to shine as bright as they are as of now. Jump on board Threats and Veer. A little bit more experience and firepower on this team. 400 or so damage above the threshold. Much better performance for them this time around, and it's absolutely needed. Only 57 points. They're behind the curve, but they definitely have a chance to catch up here.
Yeah, they got a great Surge right now, so I think they're going to be in excellent shape here with those overdrive shocks as well. So we have yet to see the best of threats pop off in this set lobby so far. Muzz Sphinx playing for the mid to high ground here. Like this play here. This is that boldness. This is the confidence that someone like Muzz needs to put down here when you know that you are far behind the kind of the situation of the overall points, but Cooper and Ree are playing like they have something to prove. Every game, they're also going for high ground.
Yeah, probably just kind of get some good practice. Like, I know it's heats. Not every single team is all in the same lobby. You got to earn that spot there, but we know how many of our superstars in Fortnite love to go for that high ground and sacrifice everything to try to make that play a possibility. But instantly, they go from high ground to low. Something new we haven't seen so far in this game, as we see where Veno and Curve pick up their 6th elimination of this game. Multiple eliminations here. They've just been getting busy while everybody else is just trying to survive.
Look at this. Someone lands right into the hands of Curve and Veno there. Sphinx and Muzz end up clashing against them as well. So just a little bit of dangerous territory down here in the low ground. I wonder, why did Muzz and Sphinx actually concede the high ground there? You would think they'd want to hold it here, because they need to play for this endgame. They need these big position points here. Either way,
Top 22.
plenty in the loadout. I like what I'm seeing here, Jacob.
Yeah, top 22. At least some placement points are starting to set in. But it starts to cascade more and more with every team that does go down. Half of the placement points outside of the 1,000 in first place, they do come in the top 10. And even more so all the way down to the top 1, where you actually get that FNCS Grand Final spot. 1,000 points for your efforts. Keys, Stiff, 28 points so far. Good chunk of those coming in this game right now, and this is where you start to build that momentum. You start to build the confidence, and that's the most important part going into the second half of the day. Veno and Curve, they're building that confidence as each and every second goes by, but got to be careful. Muzz and Sphinx on the other side, instantly trying to use that harpoon to break through the wood build, but there's still no opportunity there because Muzz and Sphinx are playing very, very precise.
I love it. It just takes me back to the original kind of comp days when the harpoon first found its highlights. Take a look at this, though. We got Drew and Chris on high ground right now. Okay, this is teams that are no strangers to set lobbies right now, like what I'm seeing right now. An early take for Hike. Now, they don't have a lot of material to kind of maintain this, so Drew going up a couple layers is probably going to come back to bite him unless he can actually find a refresher here. So how can they make the most with the situation they put themselves in? Meanwhile, Sphinx and Muzz in the bottom right-hand side here, just trying to position up, ante up against the teams on the layer. All in all, though, they bounce back into the storm, playing the miss there, and it's all eyes, though, from Chris and Drew. They're just not easing up here.
Yeah, they just instantly keep trying to target out second height. That goes from Muzz and Sphinx to Keys and Stiff. While all that distraction's going down, Reed gets one and absolutely blasts the other. Back-to-back eliminations for Reed and Cooper. You see why at one point or another he was the damage-dealing leader in this heat. But that got passed up by Veno after that last game. Him and Curve are finally finding their stride here in this game, but Veno gets dropped down to just a sliver of HP. He needs Curve to buy him time to pop the Chug Jug, and that's exactly what Curve is going to be able to do.
Still a lot of skill left in the lobby. This is not going to be an easy one for anyone. As I say that, though, Cooper gets caught on the rotate there, and now it's all up to Reed. Reed's already done it once, but pressure coming from down low as well. Into the box, just no time to breathe there as CDZ and Raven continue to be the disruptors to the veterans in the lobby. Meanwhile, Sphinx's POV not much better. Veno, Curve on the other side, approaching 10 eliminations here inside the top 10. But I'm looking at High Ground too. High Ground starting to gas out of material here. A new team goes up, but Chris and Drew play excellent defense there, and they shut down Evan. There goes a refresh for them. What is going down?
This is it right now. They're just trying to scrap. They see that they're here on the leaderboard and they can just get the win. They don't have to play for a cushion. He did his job. He got the high ground, but he lost his teammate all along the way. He's feeling just how Sphinx is feeling, but Sphinx is stuck down below. He's in the mud, but he's trying to control the front part of the zone. He's seeing it open up, and he's trying to get himself any nook and cranny that he can hold on to. A couple more eliminations going down as Curve and Veno continue to run wild. 11 eliminations so far. Scratch that. 12 eliminations so far. They might not be the only duo left in this game, but they certainly look like the strongest.
Well, you know what? CDZ and Raven have continued to fire up. They're heating up too, so this is going to be a big clash. We got the new guard and the old going head-to-head, and look at that. It's an exchange there as Curve now has to step up. Raven is just not going to be strong enough, though, and Curve proves why it's been all support for him here on the NA region. Meanwhile, Sphinx playing the zone here, uses all his pizza to stay in the game. Curve's got potential eyes on him. There's a great right-hand peek, but no! Sphinx calls the shots here, and he ends up winning that exchange. And now, Jacob, it's just a 2v1.
I don't know what happened, but when Muzz went down, Sphinx looked at him and said, "Don't worry, brother, I got this." And he's been on a rampage ever since, turning into a solo FNCS 1v1. Huge advantage for Sphinx here outside of the high ground, but it does not matter. Muzz and Sphinx may have had a slow start, but see y'all in finals.
Hey, we saw Bolts clutch out. Sphinx said, "Hold my water, I'm coming through too." And he does it for himself. And that just shows you why we were hyping up this heat here. Another game, another fantastic performance. Congrats to Muzz and Sphinx there, Zeke.
Hey, what did I say? What did I say, Vivid? What did I say not that long ago? What did I say?
Yeah. We get it, Zeke.
I'm not worried. Muzz and Sphinx. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna walk away now. I'm gonna make you think about what you did. Think about what you did, Vivid. Think about it.
Listen, guys, all I did, I was like, we were watching that game, and I took a little peek at the leaderboard, and I was like, oh my gosh. Muzz and Sphinx going in that game, they were 29th place on the leaderboard. They had 16 total points, and yeah, I mean, all it takes in this format is one good game, but after those first two games, it was not looking good. And I mean, wow. Sphinx just putting the duo in his backpack right there. A solo clutch to qualify to Grands. I feel like we've seen this before today.
Yeah, a reoccurring theme is happening, but I do want to say that the changes that they made to their early game to allow them to not have to deal with Storm Surge, I think definitely is a part of their success that they saw in game number 3. But Muzz and Sphinx, they played that really well. There was actually a moment where I thought that was going to be Reet and Cooper's game, and then they pushed to go to the front end of zone, and they pushed right in front of Muzz and Sphinx, and I yelled, "No, what are you doing?" And then within a second, Muzz and Sphinx eliminate them quickly. If there is someone that you do not want to be in the crosshairs to, that is Muzz and Sphinx.
See, Fortnite fam, do you see the script that I'm writing? Do you see what, I'm not worried? When I'm not worried, it's because I know I've written it a certain way, and I'm not worried. That should clue you in. Shout out to Sphinx. Crazy solo clutch. Crazy slide play at the end. Now we'll be seeing our best friends in the finals. You love to see it. I love to see it. With that being said, though, 2 games left to go. Another set of Victory Royales need to come out. We need to be in the top 10, and we want to keep the FNCS stream alive. For now, a break. When we return, more FNCS. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone, to the FNCS. In case you missed it, game number 3 went the way I wrote it. Let's take a look back at this moment. I wanted to see it from Spinx's perspective, okay? Because we didn't get to see that. I wanted to relive this moment because, man, oh man, Spinx pulled out an incredible solo clutch to make sure they are making it straight through to finals. You know, we've seen Muzz take it to LCQ in the past, and he's made it through. And this is why I wasn't worried. I was like, dude, you know what? He got Spinx with him, all good. And here we are, Kelly. Here we are, Muzz and Spinx in a finals lobby, Kelly. Here we are.
I just watched Reed and Cooper go down. I had to relive that moment. This is really the play that impressed me for Spinx. Staying in the backside. When you're a solo player, you really can't stay in the front side of zone, which is where our duos like to play. So to kind of play this back edge and then to do that slide play that you brought up, Zeke, and to get the elimination, I mean, that right there is kind of just like what spelled it for me. At that moment, I knew that he was going to get the elimination onto Jig as well, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was going to go ahead and win that 1v1 when I took a look at his map count. I mean, having 26 available builds when the end game is kind of happening right there in a 1v1 situation. You got to assume the other player has 0 materials because they were trying to maintain the high ground throughout. Yeah, I mean, you give 26 builds to Spinx in 1v1 like that against somebody who has none. It's going to win it every single time. But yeah, well-deserved win there for Spinx and Martz.
Let's go! That's what I love to see. Let's take a look at our leaderboard here. We only have 2 games left to go. So remember, we want to get a Victory Royale that auto-qualifies us through, or we need to end the day in the top 10. As we start to look at this leaderboard kind of start to play itself out, we had a really big game out of Curve and Benno. But first, I want to start with Cooper and Reet as well. I mean, there's just, you know, it's crazy. I feel like anytime we tune into like a different place, Kelly, I mean, it's just so much star power in this lobby.
There really is some big names here, and to consider the names that we actually haven't even seen today or yesterday that are still out of the lobby, I do love to just see how much more competitive North American Central is getting. But being Curve and Veno there, man, there was definitely a moment where I thought this was going to be their game. And there was around zone 10, I saw Curve and Veno peeking, you know, they were like paying attention to height, and I was like, this is it.
I mean, yeah, the thing is, really, you know, you're talking about the front low position there for Curve and Veno, and they were actually in a really good spot. There was this little moment, though, where Veno gets put into a 1v2 situation. He actually finds one of the knocks, and that's going to be on your screen right now as he takes out CDZ right there. And you can kind of see when he does get knocked, he kind of looks around while he's on the ground. He's like, what the heck? Where is my teammate at, right? If Curve was there with him, they probably would have won that 2v2 straight up clean, and Veno kind of knew that, but a little bit of a disconnect right there towards the end. Curve still able to pick up that elimination towards the end of that, and I mean, yeah, the name of the game there for Veno and Curve was obviously the eliminations, and kind of checking out like what we've been seeing on NA specifically so far throughout the games we saw, including the ones from Heat 1. That 14 eliminations for Veno and Curve was the most we have seen so far, and actually on the broadcast in general, that is second to only Teeny and Shark, who had 15.
Whoa.
So yeah, big game there for the duo.
Oh my gosh. And it's crazy too to think that like game 1, 11th place, 4 elims, game 2, 20th with 6 elims, right? And you kind of think like, man, that doesn't sound like crazy. Game 4 or game 3 rather, 4th place, 14 elims, and now they are in first place. Like a single game can absolutely change everything going into these types of heat situations, right? So I have so much excitement to see what else. And we kind of talked about it yesterday. If someone wins in that top 5 or in the top 10 rather, the whole lobby's getting pulled up, right? If you're outside the top 10, you win. Suddenly it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. I was never in the top 10. I just needed to win, and I went straight on through. So there's just so much could still happen in these last few games. And it's got me hyped. This is why I love Fortnite, Kelly. It's just such a complex game at every level.
And you can never really predict it. I love saying that. The only thing you can predict with Fortnite is that it's unpredictable. You never know who's going to win. You never know who's going to get the VR. But game number 4, maybe we can make some predictions.
Hard to predict. Hard to predict.
It is. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's all everything's good. Everyone find your seats on the bus. Game 4 is ready for us. So casters, take it away.
That's right. We still have a couple key duos left in here, and I can't believe we're already 3 games through, Jacob. And it's the big dog. It's the vets that are punching their ticket straight to finals.
Yeah, rightfully so. Everybody talks about using it as practice. Well, guess what? What is practice when the game is right in front of you, when it actually matters? And honestly, when you think about yesterday, Creon and Dragon qualified that were already in the top 10, shifted the whole leaderboard up for the Tick and Mafia to squeak their way in. The way today is going, I'm not sure that's going to be the case. So you got to take these opportunities to get the points while you can.
Yeah, definitely, because the pros are clutching up, quite literally. 2 games back to back. We're basically 3 for 3 here, as every single game has come with such a huge surprise. Sphinx, man, I don't know how you did it once again. Hopefully get another interview with that guy. He's hilarious. Either way, though, we're past the halfway mark. Game 4 is ready. Let's jump on the bus.
As of right now, Monster, when you kind of look at that point threshold, it's held by G Money and Magma at 99 points going into this game. And I know it's yesterday, a whole different heat. It was about 145 points to qualify. So we're inching towards that estimate already. And sometimes it gets beyond further than that. So hopefully you don't just kind of stick to that one estimate, maybe try to win the game. Early fight here over on this side of the map this time around. Ruins actually gets the early drop onto Maniac. And this is something we haven't really seen, an early off-spawn fight at these contested sides.
Yeah, but look, Ruins' team seems to have continue to find success even with their contested drop and turn them into at least a few end games. But to talk to your point about the top 10 being relatively close, right? 99 points, that's a very near threshold, right? For most of the other teams inside the lobby. I think these consistency points are going to be so much more competitive, right? A lot more tighter when it comes down to the last game. And that's because of how the other teams are winning, right? Like how the first 3 wins have kind of gone. It's the literal most competitive teams punching their way through. So very interesting to see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, we already have drop spot switch up. Jaeger and Fwishy, who are landing at Frigid, take the top mountain. Kira and Bubba, who we just saw get eliminated, went from Dark Dominion towards that mountain. So as teams win, freeze up their drop spots. People can try to play roulette to see what works for them in terms of where and when to try to switch up their landing spot. Curve and Veno going for an early lurk play. It almost seems like with 162 points, they have nothing else to do but to play the rest of these games out. And I think for Veno and Curve, this is a good try for them to finally get that win in these last 2 games. They already got consistency on lock. Why not just take it one step further?
Yeah, but if this was like finals, 14 elims, high placing end games, you can do that back to back to back, win your drop, clear your area. I mean, you are on your way to a championship regardless of a win or not. So if Veno and Curve can continue to take that momentum, take these learnings, and play at that caliber against the finals lobby, we are going to be seeing them surely pop off for the Globals LAN, for the LAN Summit. In any case, have a little rotate here from Anonia on the outside. Jelty just kind of eyeing things up. It's crazy to see Jelty the way they got eliminated in that game 1. We haven't really seen them since. Wonder if they're having a bit of a hard time getting past the early games.
Especially with the way some of these zones have been going. I can imagine so. Reet and Cooper, Latte landing. Nothing too concerning going on here. They've conditioned throughout Div Cups, through the play-ins, and now here in Heats that it's not going to be easy by any means to beat them in a contested fight over towards Latte landing. And you can see as everybody is switching up their drop spots, we saw a quad, we saw a triple contested Dark Dominion. Nobody is trying to inch up towards this part of the map because they have it so on lock. And they're not even pressed to rotate quickly because of that long pad is what I call it. Mix it with the fizz. It goes further and farther than some of the standard ones that are around the map. So they have definitely choices that they can play with here.
See which one they end up going with, but look at this. Raven and CDZ. This has been probably the biggest surprise duo I've seen here in the Heats. Showing up, getting their first real chance in the spotlight, and they have been putting up the performances of their career so far.
It's a family thing, I think, Monster, because he's siblings with Canary from Exet, who's emerging to be one of the most dangerous
who is?
Raven. I mean, it's a family matter. They sit there and get free practice against each other anytime, any day, and they're probably winner gets dessert.
Listen, I don't want to say like I got an eye for talent, but like sometimes you could just see when people are just a little different, right? When they have that special touch. And I just gotta say, CDZ Raven, if you guys continue to keep it up, you have a bright future ahead of you in this game competitively, that's for sure. And this is just the first showing we're seeing of them at this like level of gameplay, right? So if they can continue what they're doing right now, they're one game away from basically a finals. And that'd be very exciting to see how they perform here on out.
I bet you if you tell them that right now, it's like you're one game away. It's almost not even a full game. They're a top 15 away. Yeah, imagine how that switches up. But imagine how happy that's going to be when it finally the dust settles and they can get themselves a spot. Zonda instantly goes for the one build in the water, holding it all up, breaks him down, breaks into the box as well, gets a good amount of damage. Somehow Skinny Cat is skinny enough to slip through the builds and survive. But how long can you keep this going with the amount of pressure? Even got 20 and Neko at Sandy Strip dealing with their own problems because that's a contested fight, but Skinny Cat is using every single material, all of his resources, everything here just to fight for a little bit of survival. But Zonda breaks in and said, nah, no chance for you.
That's actually so true. Like from his POV, he is cranking builds and then Zonda just smoothly walks, slips right through the build and just eliminates him immediately. GG. Only sad part about that is they don't get to get any of that material. He just blew through it so fast.
123. I was waiting to see how many points 20 NECA was able to get up until this point. Sandy Strip. We saw the success uncontested from Aegis and Ritual yesterday. Even with this being contested at least by one team on this side of the map, you can kind of see handling that pressure well. Just trying to go ahead and use this moment to try to build up, gain information of where players are fighting, where they're rotating, and how they can take advantage of that.
Pressure coming in from Sultan enough now. Still continuing to manage the pace here, breaking their way top down. The team on the low is definitely showing signs of desperation, switching to metal, going through brick. They're trying anything to stay fortified, but enough slips into a box. A little bit of pressure there. You got to be careful. That Chaos reload does take some time to get that second shot out, but it's all good enough. Hits two of them. Kind of danced around the box a bit there, and even, unfortunately, Tight couldn't really follow up with a strong hit onto Salt there. He manages to clutch up, close things out.
Yeah. For Solid enough, man, you know, they had that third place, one elim. It was looking good. They were on high ground. They just haven't had those same moments to shine. So they got to really start to pick it up here. Game 4, 2 games left. You really don't want to be one of those teams that has to go through LCQ and you're looking back like, I had a chance. I could have did it if I would have just did X, Y, and Z differently. So you got to go ahead and fix that here and now so you don't have to go through the last chance qualifier where it's an opens where every single person that has yet to qualify for grand finals will play in the opens, narrowing it down to our top 50 teams on the region where you play 5 games out and it's win only. There is no leaderboard. So I wish good luck to anybody that has to go through that.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty tough. You know, we've seen these wins go either way. Heat 1 was almost a showcase of, hey, anything can happen. Some of these new dogs getting a shot. They're closing it out. Heat 2 has been, nah, bro, I'm a big dog. I've been here before. I'm winning. Don't care what's on the line. They're playing their, like, exceptional. Probably some of the best Fortnite we've seen from some of these players. So who knows what's in store for Heat 3 tomorrow. I mean, you already know. We're going to have a lot to say about the team showing up then. Save it for then. It's a fun weekend.
Yeah, it's been so. I think Vivid said it yesterday. Almost just under 300 days since our last online FNCS, and honestly, just waking up today was a whole different feeling. Waking up yesterday, it was almost like Christmas early. Get to unwrap the gifts. And the gifts for us is such amazing gameplay so far. Getting to watch some of our favorite teams, but even some of our underdogs emerge here and try to qualify for their first FNCS finals. Chaos Gaming, though, not a new name at all. Kind of a mainstay here when it comes to set lobbies. It's just 18 points along with Clixie. It's not where I would imagine they would be. They have tons of pop-off potential, but with only 2 games left, when is it going to happen?
That is the question. Who's going to be able to push to the finish line? Think about this here. Clicks. Chaos Gaming is kind of sitting out. They have a lot of danger hovering around them. You got a team on the mountain, team inside the facility, one lurking outside the builds. They're going to just go ahead and overdrive out. They don't want anything to do with all that action that's about to come flying their way. Jay sleeping at the wheel, though. Doesn't quite even see the team rotating through. Missed opportunity for tags there.
Where in some, depending on where you're actually boxed up, where you landed, and how you rotated in, this is the portion of the game from like zone 3, we'll say, to zone 5, maybe even 6. It tends to slow down. The way the Storm Surge got reworked, it's almost not worth the risk to peek if you don't have to, especially if you already got that early damage. But for teams like this, where Chaos and Clixie, where they're rotating from point A to point B for 4 non-stop zones, it's not easy to not only get the surge, but dodge every single shot coming your way. So it's going to be important for a team like this on the outskirts that's been rotating to quickly get in towards the zone and try to figure out where they stand in terms of the overall Storm Surge and how to increase their odds.
More importantly, don't take damage in the process. But hold up, Chris Drew here. After a strong last game performance, now under pressure here in the mid game. Hearing a lot of shots come in. Oh, it's Veno, it's Curve. You can just kind of tell by the aggression here. They're just trying to feel out the lobby right now, trying to see what this team was about to some degree, but good defense here. Veno, Curve back off.
And there was a lot of moments throughout the last season before FNCS, where it was Chris and Drew. Honestly, surprising a lot of players, a lot of teams. You got Ozzy in the watch party. The man who knows almost everything about everyone was even trying to get some information on Chris and Drew. So it's great to see them continue their consistent run, make it in towards heats, but it cannot stop here. They cannot begin to slow down. They're, I think, just outside of that top 10 bubble. I said it was 99 points going into this game. Chris and Drew are at 92, so they are right there. They just need to be able to close out the tournaments.
Yeah, just talk about the story, right? Stay together as well, right? You want to encourage
Yeah.
players like that to stick with one another, work through it. Maybe you can have one of those iconic dual names that we grow on to love and know forever. Like Pamsu and Fatch, you know? Just came up, continue to rock it out, just some OGs. There's plenty of teams that have done that in the past.
I almost brought a tear to my eye mentioning them, but I'm not crying. You're crying. Where are they now? We need the series, Pamsu and Fatch. Hopefully you're enjoying life out there. One of the best duos that stayed together for the longest time ever. And honestly, I love to see teams find that success. Visual and Braids have been one of those teams. Even though Peterbot and Poyo had a moment where they split up, reunited, trios happened. If you kind of look at them, they've been together as a duo for quite a while as well. And they're also finding that success.
Most definitely. Look at this, though. Talk about success. Up 1,200 damage above the threshold. The
nothing.
surge damage here is looking exceptional for Magma and G Monster. Love to see it. Here comes a nice rotate for G Money. Gonna go ahead and bounce through, carrying that momentum with the little bunny hop there. A couple shots come in, though. Ooh. Do they have extra shields on them? This is going to be the real question. Sure, they're not going to want to go through the chug just yet. Yep, there it is. The big pot's dropped. Uh-oh. See the fights on the side there. Jargoon drop.
Chris and Drew rotating out. Chris and Drew didn't want to go through the tunnel the first time, so they shockwaved over it. Lo and behold, they still end up running into Curve and Venom, but they use a shockwave of their own. Almost a different direction, but they're almost rotating parallel with another. Going east towards the zone. Good damage onto one. And it does look like Venom. He's got that early damage. Curve is there as well. He doesn't want to travel too far ahead without Curve now that he's out without shield. So he's trying to lurk and hopefully Amplify Larizis do make some sort of mistake. And that's where Venom is looking to capitalize.
You can just tell the game sense on Venom, right? Recognize, like, yeah, there's a team above them, so the threat, they're not going to be focused on danger ahead. They'll be more focused on protecting from up top. Although it doesn't open up opportunity, it still was cool to watch that play out, that little dynamic at play. Meanwhile, Reek Cooper already rotated, already situated up almost perfectly here. Dead center, prime positioning on the map, just a couple hundred damage above where they need to be. But overall, a very, very smooth performance so far from Reet and Cooper post game one.
Essentially done everything that they need to do in this game, or just say in this day, except for confirmed their spot in finals. It's right there. It's right in their grasp. Just need to finish off the day strong. Raven and CDZ actually taking a little bit of high ground here. This is where they do need to be careful. And yesterday, we were in the try screen, and honestly, I missed it in the moment, but there was at least maybe 4, 5, 6 players around here in the end game to exactly this. Somebody shoots it, it gets mad and blasts everyone away into the storm. But you can see up top, utilizing it to gain the HP. If you emote in it, as long as you're not in storm, you will be able to regenerate that HP for free, so you don't have to dig into your resources.
It is hilarious how that works. It's like, yep, dance with me, and we're all good. Fight me, I got a problem. CDZ Raven get gifted though. Little airdrop here. Let's see what's gonna be gifted to them. Nice, they catch the fist there for the rotates. Each having a set.
My only worry for them, so to say, is where this next zone pulls. If they have to shockwave from high ground a far distance away, that just leaves them open to getting tagged. Stash Cam positioned inside of Sandy Strip, one of the buildings, but you can kind of see in the mini-map, this side overall, the southwestern portion of the actual zone is so stacked. And that's what makes being only 68 above the damage threshold so dangerous. You almost want to peek, you want to try to get some free damage, but with so many players so close by, you peek at the wrong time, take damage, you fall below, that'll be a mistake you regret.
Let's see if the zone should be revealing itself shortly here. 10 seconds left for that. Venom and Curve somehow get just a butter slick rotate right there. Right on into the edge of the zone. That congestion on that western side is heavy, given that it's pulled all the way this way. Now it's going to go north, so anyone who's kind of set up on the opposite's got to move early. Looks like they're getting it a little angry here.
Amplify. Lorzis below damage. One of them down. It almost looks like Storm Surge is active as well. So he is just taking damage. His teammate gets fully eliminated, and he follows suit right after. He's trying to dodge the onslaught from one team, ends up dropping into a whole nother. And unfortunately for him, he goes down at about 30th place, so no placement points for them in this game. They're going to have to go again in the last and final game of the day with their backs against the wall.
Yeah, pressure starting to build now. The experience is going to have to pay off here, but for Reek Cooper right now, 0 elims, 190 above the threshold, not too bad. They're edging their way into the end game. Still 18 players have to go down before we hit the cutoff here. Meanwhile, Degen, Eulogy finally finding their footing into this end game. This is the second time now they've managed to appear and show up. But overall, still a long way to go here if they want to get inside that top 10. So it's going to come off of a strong 2 performances needed here. And now, looking for something though. They see the mist is out. That's going to signal danger here. Love the low ground pressure coming in. Almost wish they would have boxed up the outskirts there and just continue to keep it. But they seem to just kind of ease up right now. Don't want to throw away the end game opportunity they have right now. On high ground though, you have Veno, Curve fighting their way up towards Chris and Drew's layer. And then others there as well.
Yeah, they pushed that team far off. They were able to get a little bit of damage on top of that one. Barely 141. They realize that team is trying to heal. They're not going to be able to protect themselves if they strike and time it perfectly. Curve tries to break in along with Veno, but he takes a big shot. Curve almost gets boxed in. They quickly backtrack in their steps, and even though they did land some shots, they took more damage than they dealt. They dropped to only 93 above the damage threshold. For them, it's not too worrisome just yet, but in the back of their mind, they know if this keeps going in the same trend, they're going to have to get in the elimination.
Look at this. Raven finds enough right there. And Salt's duo. So when it's said and done, this team is continuing to perform here and find the end game. Nice little use of the fist here to rotate across. Doesn't want to overcommit with it. They both have one thanks to the airdrop right there. And now they're at the front. Meanwhile, Mako and Blank. So they fend off Veno's team and then they go for high ground. This is their first big 17 points. So finally showing up, but they're below the surge. Great damage though. Doesn't get better than when you're on hype, but look at this. They don't really have heals to work with, so they will have to hunt for a refresh here.
Yeah, and if anybody's shockwaves up, it's going to be so hard to defend. You almost got to give it up instantly. Reet and Cooper, they know that all too well. They've got second place so far as Cooper. Reet, he's leading the charge. He's quickly following suit. They want to stay together, box to box. There's a huge strength in numbers, especially for a team like this with literally nothing to lose. And you see them even peeking up towards the top. Is high ground something we can take? It's going over this mountain, so everybody down below has to be prepared to expend some material.
A lot of heals here still in the tank for CDC and Raven right now. Yeah, Free and Cooper on the other side again. When that mist starts to come out, he does typically signal a little bit of danger on the other side, but Cooper's popping off even in the mist. It's hard to track, but he makes it look easy here. Reet Cooper continue to fire off. Finding a set of elims. That's a great refresh for them to give them a little bit more gas in the tank. Degen and Eulogy though, that passive play backfiring now. And Eulogy's got no builds here, just a little big pot to use here. Meanwhile, there's a team right above him. Just no idea how much dangerous nearby. There it is. It's been on Curve. They see that something's down low, but Threats falls there too. Can Eulogy get the finish? No, not in time. Veno, Curve turn back around. They're going to find themselves so much loot there, actually.
Fear falls, not able to save the day and pick Threats back on up. But Zastra strikes again. Yeah, Curve is now down. Veno's there with him. You almost think revive could have been possible, but the zone is already creeping up on him. So Veno, once again, left by himself in a solo situation, peering around, trying to figure out what that right play is going to be, realizing there's so many duos all around. It might be just sit and heal, but they're trying to break into the box, putting pressure, forcing him up one layer, back down below. He's getting attacked and approach from all angles, but he's figuring out the answers instantly.
Venom's just too clean with it. I'm over here just admiring the rotate right now. That was some exceptional layer changing there, but even with the Chug Jug here, he doesn't want to risk too much, so he's going to go on and play the zone. Again, this is all about positioning and placement points now. He's got a lot here in the Chug Jug, so just go ahead and read the situation. Finds 20 in the mix there. Even though he wasn't fully reloaded, still finds a full finish. The Siphon's going to keep him in the game, too. There goes a pistol swap out. Hopefully, it's got some ammo in it. And this is just starting to come online. Veno earning so much impactful points here. And there's still one more there. He might be able to find it. Meanwhile, Neko loses 20, but it's all good. Here's Veno back into the mix, and another knock there. My gosh.
It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Veno flying high through the sky. And if that knock comes in, the Siphon will work. He can get back up to 200 effective shield and HP if that does come to fruition, but he's still battling for space. The zone turning the corner. He's trying to beat it to the other side, but he's almost out of builds. 200 plus points, and he does it again, taking names and crossing them off his list one at a time. He's one of 2 solos left. Mako and Blanks from Frigid Fortress have a chance to win this game and qualify to finals, but they still have to go through Veno, who is on a terror here in this end game. Another 1v2. He's hoping his job is not done just yet, but Mako dropping down. Hopefully it isn't too soon, because now Veno lands another shot. What are we witnessing here right before our very eyes? But he is out of builds, and the momentum run comes to an end. Mako and Blanks have finally done it, but that was scary.
Jacob, I'm like, another pro's gonna do it. He's gonna go crazy. He's got the mats. The high ground team started to run out. There was nothing left. But you know what? Finally, some new blood gets on the table here. Blanks and Mako, congrats on a Game 4 win there. Zeke, another exciting round for us.
Guys, I was right there too. I was like, yo, it's crazy too, because like we were talking right before this, and we kind of tuned into like Veno early on in the game. I was like, you know, maybe they're gonna get all their elims at the end, and I thought for a moment it was, but ultimately High Ground wins games. Blanks, Mako, congratulations. They had that high ground for so long, super dominant, and they played this textbook, right, Kelly? They played this the way we would kind of like foresee in a finals lobby to look. So I'm impressed, and ultimately that means they're going to finals.
You are 100% correct. Just every time we tuned into them on high ground, they played it so well. They were very aware of their surroundings. They weren't built up too high so that when they did lose their mats, they were able to drop down and get some refreshes. They just played that so cleanly for so long. Although I do have to give some credit to the chaos going down on the low ground. A lot of our big names did get eliminated on the low and mid ground, which might have made it a little bit more free for Mako and Blanks. But to go up against Veno and to be able to keep your cool, Vivid, I like to see them go through and see how they're going to perform in our grand finals.
Oh, absolutely. I cannot wait to see how they perform there as well, because I've been calling it out throughout the heats every single time it happens. Once again, we have some competitors going to grand finals for the very first time. Both Blanks and Mako have yet to be in an FNCS grand final, so we'll see them for the first time next weekend, and taking down Veno. It may have been close, but they finished off the job at the end of things. Congratulations to those guys.
Woo, I love to see, guys. Only one game left to go before we wrap up heat number 2. Go find yourself some water. Go, take a small break, come back, and we'll start to prepare ourselves. Single game left to go. 1 VR or the top 10. We'll see you in a moment.
No love songs, just a war cry vibe. This is my world, watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm bouncing back now. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can't hold it back. Yeah, I'm bouncing back. These mountains, I'll cut back to back. Oh, oh, just like that. I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. And watch me get this gold. Oh, I just want it all. I just want it all. Bounce, bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. Said you want it all. Bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. I can have it all if you knock me down. I won't feel the fall. I just got back up. Bounce back. I just want it all. I just want it all. I keep.
Welcome back, everyone, to the FNCS. One game left to go. We had some crazy moments in that last game, so of course we had to highlight that. Veno going on a tear. Oh my gosh. For a moment there, we all held our breath because we believed, could it happen? Could we get a third solo clutch back to back to back? It would have been crazy. But you know, I feel really good about the duo right now. Like, I mean, they qualified, right? We can go ahead and say, like, at 239 points, they are going through the finals. I guess it's a question, Kelly. Like, do they get the VR in the last game? Maybe, maybe.
I mean, it's definitely possible, especially after watching what Veno was able to do as a solo player. But honestly,
Sick.
I don't think much needs to happen. Much needs to change for this duo. They're already going into this so confidently. For me, though, we watched a moment where Reet and Cooper were fighting on the low ground, and there was just so many eliminated bodies, and it was Veno that was able to capitalize it, waited just a second while everyone was rushing to collect all the loot, and then that's when he was able to capitalize, get the elimination and the loot as well. But just that last moment, Vividend's 1v2 that held him back.
Yeah, I mean, he even hits the initial shot onto Maker right there, and he gets the right-hand peek behind this wooden wall right there. If he hits just that one shot onto blanks, we would have been calling this as a win, but he went on such a tear right there. And I was watching Veno in that solo clutch moment, and I was thinking, man, it's kind of looking like prime Veno right now, right? And he's been doing a lot of, like, you know, talking on socials, everything like that, alongside like Levin. And I feel like the confidence just seeping out of Veno, and the fact that it's kind of being backed up in the game right now, man, we're looking at a very, very scary competitor going into Grands, and they're looking good.
Okay, guys, let's do it. Let's take a look. Remember, we want a victory on this last game if we're outside of the top 10. If we're inside of the top 10, we want to hold strong, hold those positions. Let's take a look and kind of see how things are going. A single game left to go to decide heat number 2, or we're taking it to the LCQ. You can see right there, top 10. 10th place is not the top 10. As we flip on over, it's actually the top 15. Okay, that's essentially the top 10 because those first 4 places and that 5th will have 1,000 points. They're going on through. Right now, Kelly, 139 points is the cutoff. If everything stops right there, that's our number. But obviously, one game left to go. This number will go up. Yesterday, we only saw it go by like 20 points, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't crazy, but we still have one game left to go. The job's not done.
Well, you say 20 points, but look what 20 points could do for 18th place right there. There's still plenty of opportunity for anyone from 20th to 16th place to be able to get just one good clutch game jump up. And I mean, hey, even just look at Blanks and Mako. They were what, in 44th place last game? It's just, if you have the right strategy, if things just kind of line up for you and you're able to get a clutch game, it doesn't matter if you're 50th or if you're 5th, you can still make your way into the grand finals, Vivid.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like our top 20 is still pretty close. Let's go ahead and check out the next page and see if we actually see any sort of a big fall off here in the points. You can see, you know, creeping around 90 up there, and yeah, there it is. Right, 51 points, around 50 points for some of our teams down there. I don't know, a 100-point game will be very, very hard, but like we've already talked about multiple times, it's very possible in this format to just go ahead and clutch up, win the last game, and it doesn't matter how your first 4 games went. So still a possibility for all of our teams. And, you know, I got to say, I got to go ahead and call this out. Obviously, we're kind of talking about the qualification possibilities right now for some of our teams. But I saw this, and I got to go ahead and give it a shout. Veno, as an individual right now, has 21 eliminations. That is more eliminations than every other duo has throughout this heat right now. So, yeah, The guy's playing absolutely crazy. Hopefully, Curve and Veno go down early for some of those teams that are looking for that win, because I don't know how
Ow.
you're going to stop this duo. I mean, I'm just saying, they're going to be some tough competition. If you want to win a game, you don't want Veno running around right now.
I mean, we just saw what he did to that end game, right? Like, in that situation, you dive out in the storm and you're like, hey, it's fine. Everything's chill here, right? Then Veno's like, of course, my third meal, more mats, more materials. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point, right? There's so many good players right now that are holding spots in that top 10, right? Even look at, like, Reed, right? Like, Reed and Cooper are doing super well. It makes me question, I guess, Kelly, with this last game, if one of those top 10 get a VR, you know, you got to hope if you're outside the top 10, you've gotten those difference of points, and you can't even, you're guessing, right?
I like how I put my finger up and you immediately thought that I wanted to talk about Reed and Cooper, which is almost always the case. But I actually want to give a special shout out right now to CDZ and Raven. I wish I could have watched more of this duo right here. They've been playing really well. Oh, but okay, Reed and Cooper, we did say their name twice. Let's take a look at them, Vivid.
Still want to, find Reed and Cooper that win. They were looking good up on the higher ground. It seemed like they were consistently finding it. Game number 4 looks like they actually opted to go ahead and drop down and try something a little different. Low on the eliminations, low on the mats as a result. But yeah, they're currently sitting 3rd place on the consistency leaderboard, just behind CDZ and Raven, who are playing out of their minds and looking for their first time in FNCS Grand as well.
So many new faces. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is it. The final game of Heat number 2. Fortnite fam, lock in. Casters, take it away.
It's sad to hear that in its own. It's the last game of today. Luckily for us, we got to come back tomorrow with 5 more games, but this is where everybody is put to the test. It is a minimal point gap between the actual bubble spot and the players below.
Yep, that's right, and it's going to be very close, and you only just need a relatively okay game at this point. That's how close it is down there, and if you're up at the top, I mean, don't loosen up too soon. We've seen some people have to hold their breath in order to remain inside that top 10 consistently, but we'll see, because anything can happen. Here's the last game of the evening.
This is it. For all 50 duos in this game, some have already punched their ticket to finals, but the others still waiting on the sidelines. It comes down to this very last game of the day. Is your FNCS over, Monster? By any means, no, but you do not want to have to go through that LCQ.
Yeah, notable names: Chris Drew, Teeks Naves, Threats, Veer, Jace, Jargu, right? These are all teams that we've seen time and time again, that we have watched perform relatively well over the last year, 2 years. However, they are having a bit of a hard time in this heat right now, and it is all on the line here if they want to play for finals and not have to show up for Tuesday LCQ.
I was gonna say, Void actually does go for the revive. I'm not sure how Alfonso just literally got deleted off the map right now after the revive, but maybe he didn't successfully actually get him up. He got cleaned up, but at least he's there to get the revives and get back into the game. Threats and Veer, uncontested, Riptides, and they actually get the extra loot this game around. So they actually get a chance at the Mythic. Once they collect the little stakes that are around the map, you can pick it up and reduce the time there. You get the extra gold, the extra chance at the rare chest, and you can see Zone is already far away. So for Threats and Veer, even though they need the bare minimum to get in through consistency, this is one of those games you can look at and say, hey, they got a good chance to win as well.
And you can argue, it gets a little bit easier come game 5. Less players on the map. The big, high-performing, exceptional teams punching their way out, right? Things kind of ease up a little bit as far as pressure's concerned. And then you look at Veno. He's kind of like the outlier, right? He is playing just, absurdly well right now. He's definitely a danger, so I wouldn't go anywhere near the Boulevard, to be honest.
Especially since he's literally single-handedly taking everybody out of the Boulevard by himself. Less and less people. You even got Electro and Oak just not even going to the south side of Battlewood. They probably got some catching up to do. 9 points so far. So for them and a few other teams in this lobby, it's a win and you're in scenario. So it almost looks like they got that first elimination and they're just trying to clean up the other. Clixie is by himself. Chaos Gaming is already down. He's just waiting by the sidelines, hoping his teammate can pull off a big clutch here, and they just continuously putting down pressure. Say good job by Clixie trying to separate into 2 separate 1v1s. That's going to be his main hope here in this fight.
Hey, last game we saw Mako come through from pretty much the bottom of the barrel, pull up a victory royale. I gotta give respect to any team that's looking to fight their way through and still stay in the running right now. So for Electro, OLK, I mean, they still have an opportunity here. Anything can happen.
You almost got to make it happen. Kyrie is duo, just trying to lurk in the bush, maybe cut off the loop path for Doggo. See him out in the open. They're not going to wait for him to approach any further. They're trying to get that early damage from far away. Shockwave to close the distance. Luckily for Doggo, he has shockwaves of his own, so this is going to be a cat and mouse chase as Doggo looks to reunite with his duo.
This is really good. He does get to his duo just in time, so this is now a 2v2 fight. They kind of blew the opportunity to isolate him and solo him out, but both sides have committed a ton. Meanwhile, Ghoul is very situated for the battle right now. Plenty more material to work with right here. Look at that. They definitely have the advantage. I think 40 and Kyrie kind of realized, like, all right, this is not quite worth it. Something with Diego, though. Really celebrated too much of their performance here so far, but Suspect and Crew playing pretty well.
Diego almost getting the knocking down onto 1. Unfortunately, when you're in that situation, bursting into a box, hoping to win that 50-50 and it becomes a 2v1, it's almost impossible. Even if he does get the knock in that situation, Suspect is there to get the cleanup. So that's going to be 2 more eliminations for them, 6 more points as they look to rise up the leaderboard. And this right here is how the fight started. Havoc, just an early peak. Suspect holding his ground, gets that first elimination, and we saw the other one. Just a clean wipe by Suspect and his duo.
Just makes a fast edit, drops him before he realizes he was behind that wall. Meanwhile, Chris and Drew setting up a little bit of an ambush here. Trying to lurk up, staying nice and crouched here. Kaz has got no idea just how close they are here. Soneto's not even looking this way. Yeah, they're just way too far apart. So it's a full-on free Elam waiting to happen if they can catch him.
I'm just having my eyes glued on the mini-map arrow to see if he's actually seeing anything on the other side, but it doesn't really matter. Kaz's gets jumped on nonetheless. That first elimination for Chris and Drew, that one's going to be easy. And you can see in the mini-map, I heard the shockwave. Soneto tried to go in, close the distance. His teammate went down. He said, nah, I got to be the hero here. I got to get the reboot later on in the game. But as action shakes out in one spot in the map, it's shaking out everywhere. Curve makes quick work of 1 to try to keep their hot streak alive.
Yeah, you would think they would have gave up the Boulevard a little sooner after the last 4 games have ended fairly quickly there. Either way, jumping with Titan Vey, pushing up on Nexies here. This is really aggressive from them. This, to me, reads as a team that's had maybe a bit of a difficult time with Storm Surge early on, so they're trying to do something completely different. A bit desperate here in the last game, because Troyer and Nex are a team that are very much in the race right now. They've been consistent on the day.
And there's not many of those, the audio that comes out when you're shockwaving through the sky, so if you're able to get the jump on somebody, whether if it's a beam or just a quick 100+ damage shotgun shot, try to clean that one up as Threats and Veer, they get approached over towards Riptides. They do a good job of defending it. I don't see any shield off of them either, so I got to imagine the only damage they took was from Storm itself. Only time will tell later on to see how they're doing from Storm Surge. But for Threats, man, I've always been confident in his Storm Surge game and how he's planned these scenarios.
Points are just there for him. I like how they're trying to cut him off, trying to find Zen Monster. Where you hiding, buddy? There's the wall. Gets exposed. Threats puts on a little bit of an edit course. Jumps over. Doesn't miss the shot. Nice and clean here. And there's the finish up with support. Now they're at 6 points earned already. Continuing to just rally their way up the standings here.
Kind of see what they're doing here. Just letting most of those teams rotate in and kind of dodge a good portion of the mid-game fights where Whether you want to fight or not, if somebody's low on Surge, if somebody needs damage, or just straight elimination and points to rise up the leaderboard, sometimes you just become the chosen one, and that's, I think, where Reet and Cooper are finding a good portion of their success here today. They land at the top side of the map. They either get early game eliminations or damage or a mixture of them both, and then use that launch pad with the Flowberry Fizz at the back of their POI to cover distance so quick. And they're flying over every single one of these teams, most of them out of render distance as well. So by the time they land into the zone, they're almost to the center, or they're in a spot where they can easily walk their way in.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that on-screen leaderboard right now. I'm thinking, you know, if someone like Reet and Cooper actually qualifies, at least that 140 points going to drop down a little bit further. It's really, really competitive down in that 15 to 20th range. Neko, 20 right now, though. Not too far off from Reet and Cooper, actually. Just outside the builders. You've got to edit. They're just trying to read for information right now.
I have questions about this loadout. I have questions. I want to say they have a shotgun somewhere nearby in their base, but to have a pistol and a Thunderburst as the weapons in your loadout, it kind of worries me enough. But these guys are the pros. They're the experts. You gotta imagine they have some sort of trick underneath their sleeve if that's what they're choosing to do. Curve and Veno. I don't know if they're looking for aggression or just simply trying to make their way to the Sus Studios mending machine, but they're getting lurked on right now by G-Money and Magma. And we know how dangerous they can be in box fights that don't have the chance of getting third party.
Yeah, I'm thinking Veno and Curve definitely want to end tonight on a win. They've gotten really close. We've seen them try to go the distance time and time again here. They're already max materials, so even with 2 Elims right now, they're hunting. Meanwhile, Threats and Veer, though, walk themselves into a little bit of danger. But Veer pops off and performs when he needs to, allowing Threats to just have the time he needs to recover here. And they get to sit on some extra loot there. Threats and Veer fighting their way into their consistency positioning just based off of Elims alone right now. Look at this.
Different lurk right there. I gotta imagine somebody up above, a little bit of a surge base, hoping they come back down here to either refarm or grab something that they think is missing out of their loadout. And that's where they're hoping to strike. And it's honestly not even necessarily needed. If you look at their loadout, they got shockwaves, they got heals, they got slap pizza, chug splashes, and they're pretty stacked up for materials. So it's just about getting damage for Storm Surge, points for eliminations, and one less team in your path.
This is really interesting because we thought that Veno and Curve were going to get lurked on, but it's actually the opposite now. It's Magma and G-Monster, who may or may not have a feeling there could be danger nearby. I think that Curve might have been caught out there. It was possibly up there looking right at him, but Veno's got the side angle and excellent little opener there. And then Veno looks to push in onto G-Monster, but breaks his way out. Yeah, recognizing that it's a little bit dangerous there.
Almost going down, and even though you can kind of see them, they're on leaderboard, 9th place, 152 points. The leaderboard is so stacked. If they go down here in 37th place, it's almost a fact that they might lose out on their qualification spot unless everybody below them on the leaderboard just manages to mismanage their overall game. So narrowly, not only escaping danger, but escape going down and losing out on your spots through heats.
Yeah, it really is close, like all the way up to 7th or so. I'd say after reading Cooper at 178 coming into this, maybe if you're above that, like you're more than safe, but even reading Cooper seems a little questionable if they're fully safe if they don't earn points. But again, that has to come with an absolute, like you said, mismanagement of everything happening above and below. Let's look at this though. Enough and Salt had continued strong performances here throughout the evening. They've been in the conversation. They've been on the broadcast, highlighted time and time again. Now, though, they've done just enough to be at 151 here. This is a team that has to play well. Look at the points.
2 on 151, 150, 148, 146. And of
Gosh.
course, these are the teams that are kind of like inside of that bubble, but it just goes to show
Right.
one mistake can literally cost you everything. Because below that, 139, 134, 125,
elims.
124, it is absolutely stacked in this game. And it just goes to show that literally one mistake, going down on Surge, taking that Surge damage, anything can affect your game plan in a negative way.
Yeah, it's a 2 elim gap. Like, that's just one other duo finding a set of eliminations, and all of a sudden you are just out of the race. Very, very competitive Heat 2 so far. Seems like the lobby's pretty fairly matched. Jumping back with teams that are, of course, heating up here. I was going to say the 3 elims, but the triple threat, perfect timing there. 4 threats in Veer here. Love what we're seeing on broadcast so far. All right, they're making the rotate here, Jacob. I mean, what's your take on it? Seems like they're probably going for a little vending machine right now. Trying to get their situation set up and then probably on their way to new zone.
Yeah, even though we haven't really seen it because they've been in multiple fights, it seems like they're trying to dodge the mid game, dodge the fight, stay in the storm, do exactly what you said, go to the mending machines, find the med kits so they can dodge what these teams are going through right here and now. Stuffed underneath, 214. You take a bad beam here, either one of Jargo and Jace, they're fighting with the Storm Surge threshold. So for Threats and Veer, even though they've taken fights, it's a blessing instead of a curse for what they've gone through so far. But for Jace and Jargo, they've been able to survive the shots coming their way. Jace even able to heal up majority of the way, but you could see 187, now 214 above the damage threshold, so you can see what their focal point is before they actually get into the zone.
Like how it's working out here, but this is a very just congested north side of the zone. I was trying to find the right words to put together here, but I'm looking at Reed and Cooper also situated in between there, so pretty dangerous situation to be in. But CDZ loses Raven for a second here and has to dip his way into the storm. No, shots start to come in, and he doesn't have mats. I'm not even sure if Raven had time to drop him there, unfortunately. It's gonna be
Luckily with
close.
180. Yeah, with 180, you have to imagine they're safe. And I'm imagining things right now and hoping that it just doesn't turn into a nightmare. 259 below. They have the big pots. You see, still has some extra pizza slices. Even if he does manage to out-heal this zone right here, it's going to turn on yet again. And even with 0 builds, the odds are certainly stacked against them for this game. But 185, got to imagine they're safe. And the way CDZ has been playing, he's not going to go down without a fight. He's going to try to make a play here.
I want to see another elim from CDZ. If I see another elim, I'll feel good about it. Start talking about that. Both sides are in desperate situation here. You got Hawk in the zone underneath. You got CDC playing aggressive here. He knows it. He's thinking to himself too, 1 elim. And I should be more than comfortable here. But no, the duo's there to back him up. Imagine playing with this much pressure on yourself. Just the finals ahead of you. Your first ever finals waiting for you. You're 185 last game, and for the first time ever in a set lobby, you're below the surge.
No extra heals to kind of gain back. That
Nothing.
big farm's come and gone. He's trying to get into the box, but now he just ends up in a lobby stray and gets taken down in 34th place this game. And you still got to give them a huge congratulations with how they performed so far. I don't want to be the one that says they're guaranteed qualled and then the game's over and then something happens, but they are so close. I want to feel the confidence for them, but you see their situation. We were here watching Hawk before, 55 below the damage threshold, 70 HP. A good thing for him is he has a decent amount of builds if it comes down to it, but now it's active surge. Good luck.
Yeah, it'd be crazy not to think these teams are like making it through with 180 points, but with, again, it is so close that that cutoff line is going to raise. The estimation was 30 points. That puts us around 170. However, it could be more, give or take, right? This is a game of averages. It could be 40, it could be 50 points. So 180 could be about as much as you need. So we can't count it in just yet. And look at this, Jacob. We still have so much more to go. There's so much more distance with placement points. Honestly, not even really being rewarded just yet.
Yeah, we're seeing right now, just in the
Chris
picture in
falls.
picture, both the screens, so many teams struggling to surge right now. You said it yourself, Chris goes down, him and Drew are going to have to go through the LCQ. Gold does just enough to get above the damage threshold. He was taking tick after tick of actual Storm Surge damage. Even Hawk here just barely trying to survive. The common denominator is they are in shambles. No builds, no heals, almost needing a miracle here, not only to stay alive, but keep themselves going. There goes step one. Big shot on Hefe, but he's not able to clean it up. He just has to go to the front side.
Now imagine if a team outside the top 10 performs and actually wins this game as well. It's going to really make this even more close for the overall points. Meanwhile, talk about teams that are really close here. Reet, Cooper finding their way all through the highlight reel right now. They're the ones that dismantle Chris, Drew, and others there in those final moments. And talk about fresh teams that need big games. You got Wishy here. Jaeger playing for high ground. You have Salt and Enough right below them here, breaking out the builds. A lot of pressure coming in here. Dang, they only got 80 builds here, Jacob. So this is very desperate for them to try to play for height, almost putting up a front, right? Acting as if they can dominate the lobby, but they really don't have too much. Dashing Cam, another team that was well outside the top 20 here, popping off right now, also playing for high ground.
Yep. From one team outside to another team inside. G-Money, Magma, 162. They're inside the threshold for now. 500, make it 600 above the damage threshold, but they still have to rotate from point A to point B. Looking at high ground, trying to dodge that focus. Threats and Veer on the other side, still looking for that elimination. It's not necessarily a must for them, but they saw an opportunity and tried to take it. Zone moving further and further away, so they're going to quickly shockwave out, but notice they don't go up. They just simply run with that shockwave to go straight forward and cover distance safely.
Threats and Veer also, think about it, they came into this game outside of the top 15 and have just been popping off for Elims right now. Dash and Cam, same story for them too. Look, only 109, right? They have a long way to go. Meanwhile, Cooper and Reese starting to absorb a bunch of placement points here. Couple Elims as well. They're already played upset for some. They're going to continue to do that for others here now. Cooper leading the rotate here. Dash Cam just trying to maintain high ground as they rotate across. I'm seeing a bunch of names in the mix here in the mid ground. Jargu, Jace trying to fight their way up. Still so much more placement points to be desired. Great elimination there. 164 now as they drop another team here. 2 Elims for this one. They didn't grab the mats though, so Jace has got barely anything to work with. This is going to be desperation starting to kick in here.
Yeah, to start this game, it was about 146. Hopefully they hold the line. They went down over 160 points. Threats in the same spot, over 160 points. Magma in a similar spot, 175. And this is where every placement matters. Top 19, we're not even touching the placement points, or at least the meat of it just yet. Magma trying to go crazy, using the med bomb to try to hide it, but he falls as well. Another solo, but much different pressure. Reet is trying to ruin the game here. 420, he's going up. Not sure where Neko is at, but he's trying to finish off the elimination, and he does. This is just complete and utter destruction going down.
I mean, Reed's definitely secured his way through, and that was just a huge upset of elimination there onto 20 and Neko. I mean, they also hit the 190-point area, so they're looking pretty good, but Dash and Cam, they need this more than anyone else in the lobby right now. 128 points, this is not going to be enough. They need a win here and now, or a huge set of eliminations, and they've already picked up 4, right? So they're doing what we think is the impossible, a big game and a bunch of placement points to potentially be in the qualification based off of consistency. It is not impossible to see it happen, and you're watching it play out now for Dash and Cam.
Yeah, and there goes another 3 points right there with Curve getting eliminated. Veno still trying to go up, but Cam, he's out of builds. He didn't get any of those Siphon mats, so he's really at the mercy of Dash to return back, and he does. They get into the same box. Salt, he gets an elimination. Siphon keeping him alive. Naves goes down, but Naves might have already have his spot in the finals secured. Salt's trying to do the same thing. Shockwaves up from the backside of zone all the way to the front. Big damage on the JP, and as a solo, he's stolen away the high ground, but that moment only lasts for so long. In comes the Chop. He floats down with the Fizz. He is putting on a masterclass here.
And still having the presence of mind to fight back, hit the tags when it matters. Dash, though, falls there. Another player comes flying up. It's Veno being the thorn in everyone's side, and it looks like it's all solos. And then he finds another one there, too. There's just one team alive on the low ground, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to stop Veno from pressuring in, but another team and a player comes through. It's Electro here taking the 1v1. Finally, the low ground team starts to put their shots in on the mix. It's Encrypted and Cube from the graveyard out of nowhere at 156. They need this win, but Jacob, they only have a couple of builds.
Yeah, this one's going to be tough. They have the strength in numbers. That's the blessing that's going on for him as Veno goes up, gets the elimination on Electro, sends him back to LCQ to play again this week. But Veno in a 1v2 tries to land the first shot. But HQ and Encrypted from 23rd place to start the game, they have just punched their ticket to finals.
And that's what we talked about. If you were up in the conversation and you felt early, you did not want a team underneath you to fly all the way up with the Victory Royale. So Jacob, once again here, the heats are interesting and we get to conclude. Zeke, bring us home.
MDF, Jacob, thank you guys so much. Another fantastic day of casts. Oh my gosh. Veno goes on a tear, and to see another team, again, think about just the circumstance. You're in 23rd place, and you're like, okay, we need to have the game of our lives right now. And then to turn that around and win big for the duo, massive boost to the confidence, right? And at the very end, say like, okay, you know, it was just Veno. We did take him down, though. It was him. I mean, it's got to feel really good.
I love that, Vivid. Before that game, you were like, you gotta hope that everyone's like wondering if Veno and Cove are gonna go down early, and that's why you want them to go down early, because even when Veno is solo, he can still ruin your day. But fortunately for HQ and Encrypted, they were able to save the 1v2 and get the final Victory Royale of Heat 2.
I mean, I was a little worried right there. I thought Veno was going to steal that one away. I mean, just watching him play right now, he is just moving a little different. Like, he looks so good, but yeah, I mean, paired up against the duo, right? The only remaining duo, H-Cube and Encrypted. And it was a tough endgame to go ahead and remain a duo, because we saw how kind of chaotic that was going, right? All of the overdrive grenades being used, flying up towards, I think Height probably changed about 17 times during that game right there. Everybody was looking to go ahead and get that pop-off moment because they all knew they needed to clutch up in this last game. So crazy stuff for them to be able to stay as a duo and win that game.
Oh my gosh. Let's relive the winners. We've had 5 incredible games. And man, to think we kind of had like a prediction on the day of how things would go. It wasn't that far off, okay? All right, it wasn't that far, but still Cold. It was pretty close. Cold and Rapid coming out in game number 1, just having an amazing game there. First place, 8 elims. Cold and Rapid, excuse me. Acorn and Bolts, Muzz and Sphinx, the solo from Sphinx. Oh my gosh, just an amazing set of games. Did this live up to your expectations?
100%. I think a little bit different than what we saw from Heat 1, where it was kind of a lot of newer teams getting the Victory Royale. We had a bit more of a mixed bag. We had some new names, and then, of course, our big veterans coming through as well, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, our veterans definitely showed up and showed out. A lot of highlight reels, right? Some of those moments are going to be thrown in those highlight reels. Some of these pros are going to be posted for sure. But yeah, it was a great day. Heat number 2 was awesome to watch. Very, very exciting and entertaining throughout.
You know, we had it all. We had big wins. We had solo clutches. We had floors getting edited out. It was a fantastic day. Let's take a look at our star leaderboards to see who made it. Look, remember, we now know the winners. We're trying to end in that top 15. Okay, no surprise. Veno, Curve come out as the number 1 seed out of Heat 2. I mean, Veno clutching time and time again. So good.
Look how many eliminations they have.
It's...
I mean, yeah, the eliminations are up there, but so are the points. Like, these guys, you might blink and be like, wait a minute, they get a Victory Royale because they're almost up there to 1,000. No, just 300 points. But I mean, just played super well. Top of the leaderboard there. No surprise to see Reet and Cooper follow up behind them, 214. You know, they basically won a game today. We saw them do very, very well, but obviously the juicy part is coming, Kelly. When we are turning this page, what was the threshold? Who actually clutched up in game number 5?
174 points. But my goodness, Zeke, look from 12th to 15th. 2 points separating those 4 teams.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, even look down, right? Like, 10 points really isn't... Like, it is a lot, but it also isn't, depending on how elims go, placement goes. Like, oh my gosh, how close this race was. And a couple names just to really call out here very quickly. I'm really excited to see G Monster and Magma coming back in. And honestly, Viv, I think you called them out earlier in 11th place, CDZ and Raven. These guys were doing really, really well. And so now, you know, to kind of put them in a situation where they're going to take it to a finals lobby. I mean, dude, I'm excited. This has got me hyped to see so many new names, to see how they're all going to fare against some of the veterans in that lobby.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly, just to break down the numbers a little bit, right? We saw that the Raven duo there, they got 0 points that game, but prior to going into that game, they were second on the consistency leaderboard, right? So they dropped down just that many points right there, made it a little bit close, but how crazy is that threshold? I mean, going into that game, it was at 139, and it jumped all the way up to 174. Wow. So some of the teams that, well, they might have been safe, definitely were in for a surprise after that one.
And also to mention, we have some big names that were just so close that didn't make it through, but this isn't it for them. We do still have the last chance qualifier league.
That's right. You know, it is going to be very difficult, but it's all good. What we have to look forward to right now is tomorrow, heat number 3. EU will be before us. Then we'll come back, fresh lobby, new duos, new stories, and all of them trying to make it on the bus, go into finals, because Dusseldorf is right around the corner. Fortnite fam, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We super appreciate it. We hope you guys have had a fantastic time. Kelly, Vivid, before we start kind of wrapping things up, what do you guys think? How did you enjoy Heat 2?
Heat 2 was amazing. I am that much more excited for Heat 3 tomorrow. I think it's going to turn up the heat just a little bit more.
Boo.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we had some incredible, we got it all, right? We had some clutches, we had some good moments. We got to see Veno back on NA, incredible stuff, and yeah, excited to bring us the action again tomorrow. We got some big names in Heat number 3, and I'm excited for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Fortnite fam, thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, EU is right before us. Triple threats out in the item shop. I don't know if you saw that. Kind of a big deal. But until tomorrow, as always, we love you. Keep yourself safe, and we'll see you on that battle bus.
Beep, beep.